Did you know that with Ford, you can book a test drive for any of our new cars? Anytime, any place, anywhere. Literally. Anytime.
And projected sales and revenue are...
Any place. Anywhere. So simply go to Ford.co.uk, choose a car, and book a test drive in a matter of seconds today. Search Ford Book a Test Drive. Ford. Bring on tomorrow.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge afternoon across Scottish football. The Barry Ferguson Rangers managerial era comes back to Ibrox for the visit of Motherwell. Two massive games at the bottom as Ross County welcome Kilmarnock and Dundee host St Johnstone, and then it's over to Brendan Rodgers and Celtic later when they make the short trip to Paisley. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me this afternoon you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
This time last week, Barry Ferguson was a Daily Record columnist. Neil McCann was on the sports scene, and Billy Dodds was on some smaller radio station elsewhere. And then Philippe Clement's Rangers had what he described as the worst performance of his time as manager, losing 2-0 to St Mirren. And his time as manager came to an end 24 hours afterwards. And now the three men who were in the media are now the three men who'll be in the dugout when Rangers play Motherwell at Ibrox this afternoon. But there might be a sense of belief among the Rangers supporters, but there's still a 13-point gap between Rangers and Celtic. And Celtic will go to Paisley, 5:30 kick-off, and they'll take a sense of grievance with them because they've now been told that the goal they thought was their equaliser against Hibs last weekend, but was disallowed, should have stood. It's a good laugh, Scottish football, isn't it?
Unbelievable week in Scottish football, and I'm sure lots of interest at Ibrox today where Barry Ferguson's homecoming, if you like, takes place. You'd expect him to get a better tune again out of that Rangers squad than Philippe Clement did in his last few days. But you're right in mentioning, Gordon, all over the country when you look up and down that table, especially at the bottom, some big fixtures ahead today.
Yeah, some good fixtures, as Hugh said. This time last week, Gordon Duncan was a father of one, now he's a father of two. Congratulations, first and foremost, from us three. But I'm looking forward to this afternoon, Gordon. A lot of good games. I think everyone got along to Ibrox this afternoon to support Barry Ferguson and his coaching staff and the team. Would have been delighted with the comeback down at Kilmarnock. Celtic, although they didn't play particularly that great with their standards, still comfortable against Aberdeen. A lot of good games, and you look down the bottom of that league, none bigger than Dundee v St Johnstone.
He is right though. This time last week I was fighting my way through the Ibrox traffic to get to the hospital when I heard you two, you, Hugh Keevins, predicting Rangers would win comfortably. You said they might drop points.
Yep.
They lost. Philippe Clement went. Barry Ferguson came. The rest is history. It has been quite a week. Andrew McLean was in this spot and he's now at Ibrox to bring us the latest Barry Ferguson team.
Yeah, Ibrox had been a bit of a safe haven for Rangers this season, hadn't it? Despite all the noise and the poor results away from home, winning here just didn't really seem to be too much of an issue. That was until last month, and that's what ultimately cost Philippe Clement his job. That Queen's Park defeat then compounded by the loss to St Mirren here a week ago. That the end of the road for Philippe Clement and the start of Barry Ferguson's interim era at Rangers. He would have been here anyway, working as an ambassador for the football club, like he was last weekend. He might still be pinching himself that he's going to be in the dugout for this one instead. There was definitely a mixed response during the week to his appointment over the last few days, question marks over his managerial experience, but he'll be hoping that those battling qualities to come from behind against Kilmarnock on Wednesday are a sign of things to come from him and his staff for the rest of the season. It was his first win, and that's exactly what Michael Wimmer achieved during the week as well, a 2-1 victory over Dundee. Signs of the changes he's making at Fir Park, but his biggest test lies ahead today. Just the one change for Rangers, not a surprising one. Clinton Nsiala drops out of the team, substituted after just 30 minutes when Rangers were 2-0 down at Rugby Park. Interestingly, he doesn't even make the bench today. That's because Leon Balogun is back fit, but he only makes the bench. Ridvan Yilmaz comes in, so Jack Butland in goal for Rangers today. The back four, Ridvan Yilmaz, captain James Tavernier, not only playing at centre back today, but making his 500th Rangers appearance. He's alongside Robin Proper, and it's Jefty at left back. The two central midfielders, Mohamed Diamandi and Nicholas Raskin. It's then Václav Černý, Hamza Igaman and Yanis Hadji in behind Cyril Dessers. The substitutes, Kelly, Barron, Lawrence, Barami, Sterling, Balogun, Rice, Curtis and Danilo for the visitors. One change for them as well. Stephen O'Donnell drops out of the starting lineup. Kofi Balmer comes in. It means the captain's armband goes to Andy Halliday. It's Ellery Balcombe in goal. The back three, Kofi Balmer, Liam Gordon and Dan Casey. Tom Sparrow is the right wing back. Dom Thompson the left wing back. It'll then be Andy Halliday and Kai Andrews in midfield. Slightly more advanced of them, Lennon Miller and Callum Slattery supporting Luke Armstrong, who is the lone striker. The substitutes, Ward, Dravkovsky, Payton, Katrumbis, Wilson, Ebiye, Watt, Maswanise and Plange. The referee at Ibrox today is Nick Walsh. The VAR is Gavin Duncan.
So let's keep it specifically to today. I'm going to look at the wider Barry Ferguson story in a bit, but today, what are you expecting?
I'm expecting a carnival atmosphere at Rangers, because the one thing that is striking me about Barry Ferguson's appointment is that the fans are bonding with Barry, if I can put it that way. They did not have respect for Philippe Clement. They found his team to be boring. They found the results to be embarrassing. Queen's Park, St Mirren. And latterly they were appalled by what the manager had to say in his post-match conferences. But Barry Ferguson comes in, the real Rangers man, which is what people always say on this programme when things are going bad for Rangers. The fans always call here and say they want real Rangers men. Well, they've got them now, and some people are still sceptical about Barry Ferguson. I believe the majority are behind him, but he's had one game, and Rangers had many bad moments in that one game. They came back off the floor 2-0 down, should have been 3-0 down, but they got the points, and now I think there'll be an atmosphere of regeneration inside Ibrox at 3 o'clock today. And given what's been going on, I think he'll end his first chaotic week as Rangers manager. And I said it last Saturday, I know, but this time there will be a convincing Rangers win. I'm
going to elaborate with you on that more later, but Gordon, on that team today, look, the big decision that had to be made during the week was to take Clinton Nsiala off so early. It's never easy. He's a defender as well, he's young, all that sort of stuff. I don't know if you would consider this like doubling down, but he's not even in the squad today. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, because he came out after it and he tried to defend the young lad, which he rightly should, and said, look, we're going to work with him. Now, maybe he's saying we're going to work with him by taking him out the firing line and then working behind the scenes in the training ground, putting some extra time in. Look, Mark and I had a disagreement in this on Thursday night, and there's 2 points that at that time I totally agree, not a lot of managers. Clement wouldn't have made the substitution, right? Mark called it brave. I called it a very good substitution, because you're not taking an experienced guy off that pitch. You're taking a young guy who's played 8-9 games. And Tavernier showed at Old Trafford. He went in there. I thought it was a great move. I thought it changed what happened to Rangers. I thought that typically managers that maybe wait to half time, that game would have been away. So I think you've got to give Barry and the coaching staff a pat on the back. But there's still a long way to go, because for 30 minutes or 25 minutes they were all over the place.
I suppose at the very least, though, Mark, it shows that Barry Ferguson has no time really to, find his feet in this and keep things as they were before and not want to rock the boat. Listen, it was a few weeks ago, and I know people sort of ridiculed it at the time, but one of Clinton Ciala's teammates said he was the left-footed Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. He's then hooked early at Rugby Park, and now he's not even in the squad. So Barry Ferguson clearly just having to make big calls, make them quickly, and just get on with it.
Well, it was a perfect illustration of that, and it couldn't have worked out any better for Barry Ferguson. 2-0 down. Rangers fans want to see someone in the dugout who is in charge, who can make active decisions right away. Now, I just made the point is you don't often see that. You don't often see, you maybe ride it out to half time. So I think for an interim manager, it was a big decision, a brave decision. I think Barry Ferguson's is certainly the type as a captain and a leader who's made big decisions before, and he can speak his mind. So he took that on his shoulders. I don't think many others would have. And I agree with Daz. Of course it was the right decision because he got Rangers going the right way. So right away the fans are thinking, this guy's made that change. He's right on it. That's what we need, and he's got the right result. Today, Ciala not in the squad. Am I surprised? Well, he's got Balogun and Sterling. So again, it's a nod to his bench. Does he need another defender on there? No. He's went for the guys who've been there and done it. So again, you get a wee glimpse of what he's looking at. If the game's not going his way, he can change in an attacking sense rather than having too many defenders on there. And
I mean, so is this case by case, or is James Tavernier at centre back to stay? Because this, Yilmaz at right back happened previously, and it worked for, was it 2 games, 3 games? That then that got ripped up again. So can James Tavernier stay in there, or is this just temporary?
Look, obviously with injuries to Balogun and Suter, needs must. But I've got to. I think Mark touched on it there right there about Tavernier gets a lot of criticism for his defending at right back. Now, Mark's been a defender who tells you it's probably easier to get into centre back because you've not got a pacey winger or a tricky winger against you 1-on-1. But Tavernier's looked composed in there. I thought he brought something really different the other night. I thought he calmed everything down. He's good in the ball. He reads the game. Tavernier's a good player. He's making his 500th game today. So it shows you he's a very, very good player. Yes, I think just now, until you get your 2 recognised centre halves back, because proper ain't the answer, and I'm not giving him, the usual, he's rubbish, because he ain't rubbish, right? Unfortunately for a guy, Scottish football doesn't suit him. He could go back to Holland or wherever and go somewhere else in the continent, fit in and be a real top player. Scottish football just doesn't suit the boy. That's unfortunate.
Tavernier at centre back against Motherwell at Ibrox is one thing. If Tavernier is centre back against Fenerbahce in Istanbul on Thursday night, then Tavernier at centre back is the new normal.
Would you have said that against Manchester United?
I was going to say you don't know that.
I think you've both been sucked in. I thought he was heading that way. He's not saying he wouldn't do it. Hugh's saying that's when you know that he's in there to stay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, he's not in there. He's only in there until Suter and Balogun gets back. Let's not be kidded here. If Balogun and Suter are fit, Tavernier ain't going to play right centre back.
Well, Balogun's on the bench today. I just wonder if the Rangers fans will see him in preparation for that game, because no doubt about it, you'd rather go in with Tavernier at right back and Balogun and proper your real experience in there in such a game.
But we don't know Barry Ferguson. We don't know him. Therefore, it might be the case that he wants Tavernier to be there.
Yeah, because as we said, look, the Rangers made one signing in the January window. It was Rafael Fernandez. He's a defender and he doesn't make the squad either. So Barry Ferguson, as we said, he doesn't have time to really worry about the politics of that.
Yeah, I've got to say, right, see Tavernier, I would be quite comfortable at Rangers, right? A defender, he's got good knowledge of the game. All of a sudden he gets in there, he reads the game well. It's a problem when he comes up 1-on-1, especially against somebody like Maeda who can do that to MD. I think Tavernier can fit in there, no problem whatsoever.
The last time Motherwell went to Ibrox, Rangers were in a fairly good place. You'll remember it was that time in the season where people wondered if Rangers could do something in the league, and Motherwell beat them 2-1 Gordon Dalziel, giving your hometown team any chance today?
Look, of course I am, because you go back to the last two results at Ibrox. Now, Rangers fans will be screaming at the radios, well, we'll get Barry Ferguson now, the standards are different, whatever. That wasn't the case in 20 minutes. Rangers players have got to show big character today, because Queen's Park was a badging. They know what like it is to get booed. They get booed off the pitch against St Mirren as well. The manager lost his job. As much as Barry's there and he can take everything because he's a Rangers man, sometimes when they go over that white line, they've got to perform.
The story of last Saturday was that, and I cling to the old-fashioned ways, if Celtic lose in the lunchtime kick-off, Rangers at home against St Mirren should be so enthusiastic, so encouraged by what's happened, even if it's reducing the gap to 10 points and people are saying, well, so what? But they should at least have that much about them. They went on to the park and delivered an appalling performance.
Is that maybe a lesson then, that I know we talk up this stuff, but this sort of an incentive to win, it actually doesn't really count for much if you're not very good at what you're doing. It doesn't actually influence football matches, because as you say, if it was that simple, then yeah, Rangers would go and win last week.
I think the one thing that's giving the Rangers fans, not 100%, because there are still sceptics out there, but the one thing that's encouraging the Rangers supporters is that Barry Ferguson is bringing back the old-fashioned ways, and you could see and Gordon's perfectly correct, they were all over the shop for the first 25 minutes at Kilmarnock. If Marley Watkins had scored to make it 3-0, which he should have done, I don't know where that game would have gone after that, but I suspect not in Rangers' favour. However, I think today you'll see a renewed sense of purpose, a sense of purpose that was never really there under Clement.
Michael Wimmer didn't get the chance to be the newest manager in the league for very long. Gordon Dalziel, as we've clearly discussed there. Interesting team that for Motherwell. Paul McGinn is a long-term injury. Stephen O'Donnell drops out, so there's not that real balance on the right side. Kofi Balmer's had to come in, and not to make it all about us, but our pal Andy Halliday, just quite interested in that, because Lennon Miller, there was a lot made of the fact he would take the armband when McGinn and O'Donnell weren't there. You remember him doing it at Hampden. Lennon Miller's playing, but doesn't have the captaincy, and Andy does, so clearly something the new manager's
maybe just look at the situation. Young guy, he'd been out of injured. Andy is a good leader for me, and I'm not kidding on when I say this. He knows the game. He comes in here, I've seen him in other shows as well, talks very well, good experience, been about the block, good about the dressing room. I can totally understand that decision. I really can, without saying, oh, he's one of us in here. I think it's a tough ask for Motherwell, but there was good signs, especially in the first half against Dundee on Wednesday night.
Speaking of Dundee, let me check the calendar. 1st of March, can we pull out the relegation 6-pointer?
Yes.
Happy with that?
Without doubt.
Let's do it. Gabriel is there at Dens.
Yes, Gordon, you certainly can. It's a battle at the bottom here, 11th v 12th, a clash of the Tay teams, and a huge game for both sides here. Let's start with the hosts, who've lost all of their last 5 league games. Yes, Dundee have gone from looking like a potential top 6 side to seriously flirting with relegation across the past month. And for the first time in the Tony Docherty era, the manager is under pressure with his young squad. He makes 3 changes from their midweek defeat, and McCracken, Astley and Tiffany all drop to the bench. In come goalkeeper Carson, captain Joe Shaughnessy and Garza. So it'll be Trevor Carson in goal, a defence of Joe Shaughnessy, Aaron Donnelly and Jordan McGee. Cesar Garza, Lyle Cameron, Mo Silla and Zayed Larkesh across the middle, with Josh Mulligan and Olu Adewumi supporting Simon Murray up top. The substitutes: McCracken, Sharp, Ingram, Astley, Tiffany, Samuels, Riley, Robertson and Lopez. Also, Johnstone come here flying high despite their lowly position. That's because they believe, perhaps for the first time in a long time, they are still alive in the Premiership. Simo Valakari really started to make an impression with the Perth side, and a win today would be absolutely massive. They've been bottom since before Christmas. They were 10 points adrift at one point, Gordon, but they've clawed that back over recent months. They've won 5 of their last 7 matches, and for the first time since his arrival, they could climb off the foot of the table. Valakari makes just 1 change, with Barry Douglas in for Svedberg, who is amongst the substitutes, so it's also going to be a 3 at the back formation. Andy Fisher in goal. Daniels, Balodis, Zach Mitchell and Barry Douglas at the back. 5 across the middle: Sam Curtis, Dre Wright, Jason Holt, Sven Sprangler and Stephen Duke McKenna. Mackenzie Kirk and Adama Sidibe up top. The substitutes: Sinclair, Svedberg, Clark, Carey, Stephen, Smith, McPake, Watt and Franchak. The referee here is Stephen McLean, and the VAR, Kevin Clancy.
Looking forward to it, and a similarly big one in Dingwall, which means Dave Galloway's had his wimpy ahead of Ross County against Kilmarnock.
Yes, thank you, Gordon. I had my big and mighty meal, which was very nice, washed down by a diet cola, of course, just to keep my figure looking svelte. Let's hope we get a feast of fine football here this afternoon. It's 9th versus 10th, with both sides looking to move on from midweek defeats and boost top 6 hopes, as opposed to getting dragged closer to a possible relegation scrap. That's just how fine the margins could be between winning and losing here. County manager Don Cowie's urging his side to put a disappointing performance against St Johnstone behind them. Killie boss Derek McInnes, meanwhile, believes if they can replicate much of what they produced in the first half, or even the first half hour of their visit by Rangers, they can get some vital victories on the board. Let's look at the teams then. And Ross County make 3 changes. In come Ashworth, Nisbet and White. Out go Kenna, Phillips and Hale. So it's Jordan Amisa in goals, a back 3 of Jonathan Tompkinson, Casper Lapata and Elijah Campbell. Across the middle, Akil Wright, Zach Ashworth, Connor Randall and George Harmon, with Noah Chilvers sitting off Josh Nisbet and Jordan White in attack. Substitutes for the Staggies today: Laidlaw, Hale, Greaves, Harmon, Samuel, Smith, McLeod, Robston and Kenna. 3 changes also, I can tell you, for Kilmarnock. In come Watson, Anderson and Polworth. Out drop Armstrong, McGuinness and Wales. So it's Kieran O'Hara in goals today. A back 4 for Killie of Joe Wright, Lewis Mayo, Robbie Dees and Corey Ndaba. Midfield: David Watson, Brad Lyons, Liam Polworth and Fraser Murray. Up front, Marley Watkins and Bruce Anderson. The subs today: McCrory, Wilson Brown, Mackenzie, Kennedy, Armstrong, McGuinness, Cameron, Ramsey and Wales. The match referee, an interesting one, it's David Dickinson, who was the man in the middle, of course, for Dundee United v Hibs on Wednesday night, when that Sam Dalby goal was wrongly ruled out following an all too long VAR review. And talking of VAR, the man in charge of that today here is John Beaton.
Looking forward to it. Big games everywhere you look. The real nerves though, those 2 fixtures down the bottom: Ross County Killie, Dundee St Johnstone. Huge. Of course, St Mirren Celtic to come later on. That is a 5:30 kick-off, so we'll build up to that one a bit later. In the meantime, you've got the team news. We'll park that. We'll look back on the week's biggest talking points when we return.
You're really building that business, Josh. That's because you chose to bank with Virgin Money, earning cash back on your supplies, turning expenses into rewards on everything from Sanders to skip hire. He came, he soared, he conquered. Open Virgin Money's M account for business now. UK excludes NI, Channel Islands and Isle of Man. 18 plus. Terms and exclusions apply. Cashback rate of 0.25% backed by the current account switch service. Virgin Money is a trading name of Clydesdale Bank PLC.
Did you know that with Ford, you can book a test drive for any of our new cars? Anytime, any place, anywhere. Literally. Anytime.
And projected sales and revenue are...
Any place. Anywhere. So simply go to Ford.co.uk, choose a car, and book a test drive in a matter of seconds today. Search Ford Book a Test Drive. Ford. Bring on tomorrow.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. It's 01419511025 on the phones a bit later on, so get that penciled in and give us your reaction to the games. But right now we are building up to them, none more so than Ibrox. We've given that a good preview with the team news and so on for Rangers against Motherwell. What about the wider picture, Hugh? I knew at some point, because this is how it works, that Barry Ferguson would get a series of results or a series of performances, and people would start asking the question, could this become a more permanent thing? I didn't quite expect it within 4 days.
No.
But I still detect it out there.
Yeah.
What does the big picture look like this week?
I don't think it's a reasonable assumption to make that one win at Kilmarnock means that you are the man for the future.
What about the possibility? Does it remain?
If Barry Ferguson is extremely popular with the Rangers supporters because of what he did at the club as a player. For example, James Tavernier will play his 500th game for Rangers today, but he's only won 3 trophies in that time. Barry Ferguson has a haul of trophies from his time at Rangers, but he has to show in bigger matches than Kilmarnock away, because Kilmarnock are down near the bottom of the league for a reason, and we're breaking through Rangers at will in the first 20 minutes of the game on Wednesday night. But Barry Ferguson has to show more than an away win at Kilmarnock, so there are big tests of him to come. But he has goodwill in the bank, and plenty of it. I sense the bonding with Barry Ferguson among the Rangers supporters. The sceptics will wait for those big games to take place before they make up their mind. But the one major imponderable in all of this, 49ers Enterprises, the owners of the San Francisco 49ers, who are in the throes of taking over Rangers but have not yet completed the deal. Do they want to make their own decision on who is manager? Will they respect the fact that Barry Ferguson is extremely popular with the Rangers supporters and allow him to continue? Those are the imponderables. Barry Ferguson at the moment enjoys all the goodwill of the Rangers fans, but he has still to prove himself in the role. I think that's only fair to say. He's in one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even by our standards, or Scottish football standards, asking you if you think it will happen is a sort of, it's a stretch too far. I suppose what I'm trying to get at, Mark, is it a possibility? Because I think last week, Matt, like I said, you were kicking off against St Mirren this time last week. I heard you lot on the show. You say, could Barry Ferguson be the permanent manager of Rangers? You would have, bowled yourself over laughing. Yeah. So is it possible at all?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Anything's possible here. And Hugh's right, goodwill gets you where you are just now. If you're Barry Ferguson, with people on side right away, after 15 minutes people might have been swaying. However, after 90 minutes people have doubled down on that idea. Now the rest is unknown. If Barry Ferguson comes in and transforms this back half of the season for Rangers, and the football gets better on the eye, matched with results in big games like Hugh said there, then of course it's a possibility, because you'd be silly to give that up. Because as owners, the new owners who may come in, they have got to have an ear to the fan base as well, to understand how they're feeling about things. And that's maybe been what's lacking at Rangers. It's been detached between the fans and the leadership. So if things have all went one direction and it's looking much better, then of course it's a possibility. But I don't think Barry Ferguson or his coaching team will be getting ahead of themselves. They understand it will probably go game to game and there will be ups and downs, but who knows what can happen. If the football's better, results are better, then he's in with a shout.
Goodwill in the bank won't sustain you. It has to be accompanied by results, and that applies to Barry Ferguson, to Brendan Rodgers, to anybody. But it's a good start to have, because Clement latterly had totally lost the Rangers following, and the atmosphere at games, people walking out, the crowd by the end of the game against St Mirren last weekend. Ross McCormack was in this studio and he said to me he played in front of bigger crowds than that when playing for Rangers under 19s. So Clement had totally lost the following, but Barry Ferguson, out of respect for what he did as a player, has regained the following. He now has to hold on to them, and only results do that.
Does it need to be more than results, Gordon, whatever that is? Because Michael Beale had a 72% win rate as Rangers manager. Philippe Clement's dipped a bit in the last couple of weeks, but he's still well into the 60s. The Rangers are going to win most of their football matches between now and the end of the season because they're Rangers and they exist in a part of the footballing world where they are much bigger than most of the teams that they'll play against. So they will get results. Does it take more than that?
Yeah, I think he's got to show that tactically he's switched on to it. Look, everybody turns around now. He's brought the one thing you can say about him successfully. The way he performed on Wednesday night with the support, he's brought everything together. Because if they'd have kept Clement in place, there'd be about 30,000 inside Ibrox this afternoon. But you can't second guess Rangers, right? Patrick Stewart last week was talking about we can't upset the Europa League with Clement, that's why we're not sacking him. A week later, you got Barry Ferguson in Rugby Park with four other ex-Rangers players, whatever it may be. So you can't second guess this club, right? But my big question's simple. When you get to the end of the season, and it was a Rangers fan that actually asked me, and I thought, do you know what? I never thought about that. They said, Barry Ferguson's a hero at Rangers. Brilliant, everything about him. He's bringing it together. I wish him all the very, very best for what's happening just now. But can you see Rangers winning the league under Barry Ferguson next year? And that was a question I was asked from him. And you look at it and you think that would be a massive, massive ask.
Again, to go back to the imponderables though, the 49ers Enterprises, if they take over the club, there will be, because there has to be, a massive investment on the playing side. Players will go and others will come in, and it's not possible to say that Barry Ferguson couldn't win a league, because you don't know who's going to be playing for Barry Ferguson if he remains as the manager. Yeah, but
if you're walking in as an investment, Hugh, an American company, and you're going to put a lot of money into it, right? You know the way now stats are done to get managers, substitution, style of play. That's a new thing going forward. Would you look at Barry Ferguson, who's worked at Clyde Kelty, Alloa, caretaker of Blackpool, and think, I'm going to throw millions and millions at this club, and you're the guy that's going to take that over?
Andrew McLean, you are there today. I can't remember if it's you or your colleague who I can bring in if that is the case, who's been out and about at Barry Ferguson's press conferences. I just wonder what the sort of vibes have been like and what sort of things have been discussed and what people have been making of his messaging.
Yeah, I think he's been very assured in the way he's been speaking throughout the week. I know it's a bit of a cliche when a manager comes in and they'll talk for the first time and people will say, I thought they spoke quite well. But I think generally people were wondering what Barry Ferguson would be like, how he would address the media. I think he's been very measured, as I say, very assured. He said all the right things, the things that the Rangers supporters want to hear. Of course, those things need to be backed up on the pitch, which it was done for about an hour of the game on Wednesday night. But I think generally fans have been quite impressed with what Barry Ferguson said so far, the way he's handled himself so far. You even see at the end of the game on Wednesday night, when he was over, he was taking the acclaim of the supporters at the end of the game, and just the way that he's dealt in the public eye so far. It is still very, very early on. He's only less than a week into his Rangers reign, so if there becomes a time where he is feeling the pressure, that's the point where maybe you do ask questions and see how he handles that occasion, because it's maybe been a bit more straightforward this week than other weeks that other Rangers managers have had. But yeah, there'll certainly be a lot of intrigue to see exactly what he is like in the media and how he handles it in the dugout going forward as well, because standing in that dugout as Rangers manager today, I think will probably feel like quite a foreign concept for him, because as I mentioned earlier on, he was here last week, he's been here pretty much every other week as an ambassador for Rangers, working in suites, doing all different types of things like that. So the fact that he's going to be standing there, he'll probably be pinching himself today. There probably will be nerves for Barry Ferguson, but a player that played so many games for Rangers, won so many trophies for Rangers, wore the captain's armband, he's the type of character you'd think should be able to handle that going forward.
The big question really is who's replaced Barry Ferguson in the hospitality lounges this afternoon. That's what we really need. If we're proper journalists amongst us, we need to get to the bottom of that, surely.
Who's hanging about? But it's quite the thing to go from working the lounges, which is trading on your past reputation and keeping folk happy, It's quite the thing to go from that to the manager's job in 1 week.
But he's keeping the supporters happy, Hugh.
Yeah,
I've got to say something, right? I thought he's handled himself really, really well in the media, right? I think he's bridged that gap, because there was a massive gap with supporters and the board, especially last week. They were leaving the 49ers. They were the 49ers. That's how many was left in the stadium. But he's bridged that gap now. He's brought the Rangers supporters back, so he's handling that situation well. Look, we all wish him. He was a terrific footballer, but it counts for nothing. You're right. He's got to go out there. He's got to show that he's got what it takes by the tactical situations. Yes, we talked on the decision he made on Wednesday night. I keep going back to it. I don't think it was I think it was a very good decision. A one that had to be done, and he was there, and he made that decision with the backroom staff. He's got a lot of big games coming up this month. There's no doubt.
Football fans are historically tremendously fickle. Goodwill becomes ill will based on results, and Barry Ferguson will be no different from any other manager. At the moment, he is basking in the glory of Barry Ferguson, the Rangers icon. He has to win matches, he has to win in Europe, and he has to keep the folks happy, because, as I say, goodwill very easily in football becomes ill will.
I suppose, Mark, we are all brought up on the notion that it is all about results, which you can't really disagree with, but it shows you now, because there's a sort of 24-hour relationship between fans and football clubs. It's not just about what you see 3 to 5 on a Saturday afternoon. It's about what you read and what you watch and social media, and there's clips of training, and there's press conferences, there's interviews. So all of that is far less important than results. However, it helps. Rangers fans were sick of hearing from Philippe Clement. They didn't want to hear from him. So at a very baseline level, they're just enjoying what they've seen so far.
Yeah, well, everything's on trial for Barry Ferguson and his coaching team at the minute. And you're right, there's so much that goes into a football club, especially when things are going badly. Everything is picked up upon. So that is right to highlight how Barry Ferguson has handled the media side. You know, a lot of tough questions to answer. Maybe sometimes he has to answer questions about justifying himself and people bringing up his past records. So he's had to deal with that side of it, as well as give a positive message to the Rangers fans, as well as sort out tactically what they're going to do in the game, as well as changing things in game, and then building up to his first home game. So a lot on his plate, you know, spinning a lot of them at the minute. But again, he's handled it well. But this is the next big test, and results will get you so far, but the Rangers fans want to enjoy going to see Rangers play. Now, after 20 minutes to 90 minutes on Wednesday, the Rangers fans enjoyed that stylistically because they created loads of chances, scored goals. They want to see similar again today.
I think when you think back to the end of the game at Kilmarnock on Wednesday night, and Barry Ferguson went to the Rangers fans behind the goal, and they were all chanting a Barry Ferguson song from the 1990s, and he has brought a kind of revivalist spirit to the whole place. What's sometimes thrown in his face is Clyde, Alloa, Kelty. Not very good there, but he was dealing with inferior players at Clyde, Kelty and Alloa. The Rangers players are better than they showed under Philippe Clement, certainly this season. And that's why Clement's no longer the manager. But Barry Ferguson has better players at his disposal now. He has to build on the 4-2 win on Wednesday, starting now.
OK, it's suppose one of those weeks where the big story of the week bleeds into the Saturday afternoon. It's all linked because Rangers take on Motherwell, but we'll go back around the grounds and put more of a focus on the actual games themselves coming up when we return.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
We're building up to kick off in the 3 o'clock games. Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins are here, and the top team are around the grounds. Let's go back to Ibrox, but put more of a Motherwell slant on things, because we've had a good old discussion about Barry Ferguson and all the stories that have developed this week at Ibrox. Andrew McLean, it's also relatively new in the Michael Wimmer era at Motherwell. Got a really important win on Wednesday, didn't they?
Yeah, a massive win. It is crucial for any new manager to get their first victory on the board, and for Michael Vimmer to get that, he will feel that, you know, it's hopefully a step in the right direction for them. I think one thing that supporters have seen from Motherwell so far is there's a higher intensity to the way they play. They want to get the ball forward quicker. Maybe the one question mark is whether this group of players and the way they've previously trained and previously worked, how long are they going to be able to last and do that in games, because it may well tire them out. It may be something that needs to be a gradual process over his time as Motherwell manager. But you do wonder how he'll approach a game like this, which will be very different, of course, to a game like playing against Dundee during the week. A big win on that occasion, but do they still go in with the exact same commitment and drive to try and get forward and to try and, you know, really press Rangers in the way they did against Dundee? Or will he alter his tactics? Will he come here and try to sit in and maybe look to hit Rangers on the counter? Always intriguing to see what new managers will do when they approach games against the likes of Celtic and Rangers at home and away from home. But it is a big day for him today. Of course, he's not going to be judged on his results when it comes to playing away at Ibrox, but if his team can go out there and show all the right signs, then the Motherwell fans, the travelling Motherwell fans that have made their way into Ibrox and are still making their way into Ibrox, might just think that Michael Vimmer is showing the right signs, that he is the man that can continue to help them climb the table.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a busy week, I have to admit. I don't know if I was across absolutely everything. Did Michael Vimmer say anything about Lennon Miller's captaincy and Andy Halliday doing it? Is that just a kind of on-the-day decision?
Yeah, I think it was maybe more of an on-the-day decision. I suppose it's a new manager, a fresh set of eyes. Stuart Kettlewell, obviously a big fan of Lennon Miller. I'm sure any manager that goes into Motherwell will be a huge fan of Lennon Miller because he's such a fantastic footballer. We know what he's like as a personality as well, handles himself very well. But maybe Michael Vimmer is just a different type of manager that feels he maybe wants a more experienced player wearing the armband.
It's always such an interesting one, Gordon, when any manager goes in and wants to do things differently, because why wouldn't they? They're more than entitled to. But the old challenge is, as we know, you've got the same players. You can't sign anyone if it is drastically different, or even a slight difference from what you were used to before. It's not always easy to get it over quickly. You can see what he's trying to do, and time will tell whether this current group of Motherwell players can do it to any sort of successful level this season. Yeah,
small changes. It takes time, as you say, Gordon. You just can't get in there and rip everything up. You've just got to change it. He's only in the door. It'll be an interesting afternoon to see tactically how he goes up against Rangers. He said in his press conference he's not just there to visit, he's obviously meaning business. I think his decision to take the captaincy from young Miller is the correct one. I think what he's done is basically went in and said, listen, you've such a talent, we rely on you so much, let's take a little bit of responsibility off you, let you just go and do what you have to do. We've got a guy in the middle of the park, full experience, a great pro, let him just go on about, round about the team, encouraging, go and you do your stuff. And I think that is a real good move, I really do.
And Hugh, there are times when we always hear that sort of phrase, cliche about, well, your season's not defined against Celtic or Rangers, it's a free hit, you're not expected to get things at Ibrox. But the reality for Motherwell, they're levelling points with St Mirren, as a result of St Mirren getting 3 of those points at Ibrox. So you can't just go and write these games off. You need to go and try and take something.
Yeah, we speak about managers making their mark at a club when they come in. Well, he's made his mark midweek with a good win. He's made his mark today by taking a decision on who should be captain, and he could not make a bigger mark unless it was beating Celtic at Celtic Park than beating Rangers at Ibrox. So it's a big day, and it's not a free hit, it's an everyday Premiership match, and he's there to win as many of those as he can.
I want to look at real pressure though, if we're talking about teams that are close to each other. I mean, Gabriel, Dundee and St Johnstone are now separated by just 3 points. There are 10 games to go, 5 until the split, and no one would have foreseen this on the day that Simo Valakari took the job, would they?
No, Gordon. That's what we were saying earlier. It looked like St Johnstone were gone. We know how tight the middle pack is. Pretty much everything from 3rd to 10th could move, could change. You could finish in the European places. You could be trying to avoid that relegation playoff. But we did think that St Johnstone were possibly gone in early January. But what a turnaround it's been. They've won 5 of their last 7. 4 of those are in the league. They're in the Scottish Cup quarter-final as well. And as I said, they could be off the foot of the table with a win today. And you can't say it's not been deserved. Valakari has clearly made his impression on this team. They are trying to play it out a bit more from the back. They've brought some players in January, and you're starting to see what he wants on the pitch. And for Dundee, it's just the opposite. Of course, they finished in the top half last season upon their return to the Premiership, and again, they were looking pretty in the first half of the season. I was here for the games against the Old Firm sides at the start of 2025, where they got a point off both of them, and they looked like a good footballing team in both of those games. And when you compare them to some of the other sides in the league, you would say that they're one of the stronger footballing teams, and that they could push on and perhaps even get European football. But it is a young side, Gordon. Doherty's team are young. They've got talented players, but perhaps not as much experience, as much fight as other sides around them, which is what can help you when the chips are down and you're on a bad run. They've lost 5 in a row, and if they were to lose again today, they could be 12th by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and another big game down there as well in Dingwall. We mentioned that Ross County in 9th, Kilmarnock in 10th, separated by just 1 point, so it's ever so close there. And now Ross County, Dave Galloway, although they had that disappointing result against the aforementioned St Johnstone, they can now win away as well as at home. Is that where the teams round about them will start to perhaps worry at what they're capable of?
Yeah, and Ross County have been unpredictable, so have Kilmarnock though, but County, for all that they've had some decent results away from home, they've not actually won back-to-back Premiership matches here at the Global Energy Stadium, their home, this season. They would really love so much to put that right this afternoon. Like I'd say, both teams really looking for consistency. They've each won 2 and lost 2 of their last 4 matches. Kilmarnock, they come up here with a bit of hope of putting things right after their kind of collapse against Rangers, but they haven't found this a great hunting ground at all. They've failed to win any of their previous 8 visits here. Could that be about to change? A lot of questions will be answered in the coming couple of hours. These teams have plenty to prove though, Gordon, as they try to get into a more comfortable league position.
Yeah, I don't think Kilmarnock have won away from home since October, end of October, is that right? So,
well, we talk about the pressure on Dundee today. If Dundee win at home against St Johnstone, pull themselves together, break that losing run, and Ross County beat Kilmarnock, then there's only 1 point between Dundee and Kilmarnock, and it's Kilmarnock who then look troubled.
Just before kick-off, let's hear from the 2 managers at Ibrox. Barry Ferguson, of course, in the home dugout.
Well, when you play at Ibrox, you have to dominate. You have to dominate the ball. You have to take the game to the opposition. I don't think that was the case in the last 2 games. So my message to the players is pretty clear, what way we're going to go towards Motherwell.
And the man who's going to try and spoil the party is Michael Wimmer.
Yes, it's a big challenge, but I like it to compete with the best teams. It makes us better, and I like this challenge. And it's not easy, but it's more easy to drive to Ibrox with a win after Wednesday.
And there we are, the scene is pretty much set. Big stories, huge matches everywhere you look. Who would have thought a week ago Barry Ferguson would take charge of Rangers for this game at home to Motherwell? There's nothing between Ross County and Kilmarnock or Dundee and St Johnstone, so those will be fraught. And as if that's not enough, later on we have St Mirren against Celtic as well. So much to look forward to, and it all kicks off next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
A big Saturday of Scottish football action to come, starting pretty much now. Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. The scene is set at Ibrox. We've got Rangers against Motherwell, Dundee, St Johnstone and Ross County, Kilmarnock. It is of course Armed Forces Day as well, so a lot of pre-match ceremony at Ibrox in particular, but I think we've actually got some at Dens Park as well. James Tavernier's children are on the pitch with Daddy 500 or Dad 500 in the back of their strips as well to mark that. So there's a lot to get through before the football kicks off, Hugh Keevins.
Well, James Tavernier is part of the day of celebration at Ibrox. As I say, 500 games but only 3 trophies, and a man who divides the Rangers support and always has done about his suitability for the captain's role, about his suitability for a place in the team sometimes. But he has been, for me, pound for pound, a very good signing. The 500 games, a special occasion for him. But he, like Barry Ferguson, now has to make Ibrox an entirely different place from the ground it was just 1 week ago.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
Right, come on then. What are we looking at this afternoon? Last Saturday, I was on my way to the Labour ward, and I heard the famous words of Hugh Keevins: Rangers comfortably. And I thought, you know what, this just proves that no matter what's going on in my life, I'll always have a bad Hugh Keevins prediction to bring me right back to this studio.
And here comes some more.
He predicted you were having a girl.
When he knew it was a boy.
What are you going for today?
Rangers comfortably.
Dundee
to beat St Johnstone and end the horrific run.
Big shout.
Ross County Kilmarnock a draw, and Celtic to beat St Mirren.
I've gone for Rangers. I've also gone for Dundee. The run has got to stop somewhere. I think it'll be today. I think Kilmarnock will get a result in Dingwall, and Celtic to beat St Mirren.
Some big shouts.
I'm mixing up again. I'm going, I fancy Rangers. I don't think I'll be comfortable, but I fancy them to win. I'm going St Johnstone. I think they're in a great run. Dundee, out of the last 6 games have lost 19 goals. St Johnstone will punish them this afternoon. I'm going Ross County. If it's the same one I always think that turns up at Dingwall, and I'll go Celtic.
There we go. We'll see what happens in the next couple of hours. I'll give you a bit of credit. As I said, I tuned into you all last week. I heard you say Rangers would draw. You did say they would drop points, so
don't give me credit, right? Because I bottled it.
Or did you change your mind?
No. I was going to go for
midweek.
I was going to go for St Mirren win, and I sat in the fence because I didn't want people shouting at me. I bottled it. I bottled it. Yes,
Wimp.
yes. Hands up.
We'll go for Wimp. But there we go. Anyway.
Good call from you. Yep. Good call.
Yeah, I just thought Rangers were in a bad place after the Queen's Park at Ibrox. It's always difficult to go, and especially when the supporters are sitting there waiting for you if you don't perform. And obviously they didn't, and all credit to St Mirren.
That's us only just underway at Ibrox. Obviously they abseiled down and delivered the match ball and all that sort of stuff, so it takes a bit of time, and that's the game just underway. So we'll see what happens in the next 90 minutes plus here and elsewhere, and then we'll turn our attentions during that to St Mirren, so you can give us your thoughts there. 16 seconds on the clock, a Motherwell corner, so it's been a
end-to-end
stuff in the first 16 seconds. We've got big games all across the country. How was last night, Maryhill, Mourinho?
Oh, it was great. It's great fun. It's looking good there.
Yeah.
Looking good.
I tell you what, you can hog it, can't you?
I was loving it.
Anywhere a cameraman, you must have been here, there, 20, following me about in the dugout. Because every time I went on to you, you're always doing the arm thing and shouting.
I was just doing it all game. I was just pointing. Let's right and centre.
Do you know what I honestly thought, from a very selfish perspective, because I know there are other things more important in the world than Clyde One Super Scoreboard, but is there any part of you that knew last night that anything you did was going to get mentioned?
100%. 100%. And not even on the show. The moment this guy stepped into the studio, I thought everything's getting picked apart, and he just came in. How bad was this? How bad was that?
I've got to be honest, right? I'll give him all the credit in the world. I think Partick deserved to win last night, right? Is that seen as a good point because Livy are so good at the moment, or ultimately you need to try and get there as Partick?
Yeah, I suppose when you look at the league table, I mean, what are Livy, 10 points or something like that, or even further ahead is. So maybe, but you know, a couple like Thistle, you got to win your home games.
Yeah, mate. Don't start all this.
No, I'm not starting because
let me tell you right now, what I'm waiting for is quite simple. You play Queen's Park next, and if you lose, I'm shouting 2 from 9 ain't good enough. Right?
That was one of his first words to me when he came in. Nothing like the support of your colleagues, Gordon.
Big game for you today is Wraith Rovers Queen's Park at Kirkcaldy, because they're close, too close to you for comfort, and they've got games in hand.
I thought they played well. I thought you could see the Wilson and Graham style of play being imprinted on the team.
Right, on Thursday we were in early. I don't know why the twos end up in very early. I think it is because he's obviously coming straight from there. I'm getting a kitchen done, which is good.
See, when I came in Thursday, we went in early. He was on the couch, lying in, having a snooze. I said, "Why are you having a sleep?" "I'm getting a kitchen done. I'm knackered."
You're not doing the kitchen.
No, but I was carrying all the stuff. They two lazy guys that I've employed, they're getting bumped.
They've got the radio on just now.
Honestly, they're getting sacked. But he gave me all the tactics, what they've been working on. So I sat down, tuned in last night. I thought they were brilliant. I really did. I thought they were brilliant. They're up against a very physical Livingston team. And I listened to David Martindale after the game saying, well, keep the AstroTurfs because you can't play football and that. But my argument was you need to try and play football, Davey, first and foremost, before you get a pitch. But I thought they were great. They tired a little bit at the end.
Obviously, right, there's a big but coming here because that's the only compliment he's ever given me.
It's the fine margins. They cross 1-0 Thistle, cross from Logan Chalmers, Brian Graham, and you think, there you go. And he hits the post with it.
Yeah.
And if that goes in, Thistle win.
Couple of updates from Ibrox after that early Motherwell corner. There was in a free kick to Rangers wide in the left, a late challenge from Kofi Balmer on Yanis Hadji, then went for a corner, but James Tavernier put it over everyone's head and out for a goal kick. Would you know what annoyed me the most about him last night? The stopwatch.
I've seen it.
Outrageous.
I've seen it. I was like
a PE teacher from 1997.
I was going to wear it around my neck.
You got it. An actual stopwatch though.
I always have that.
Why?
Just in my pocket.
But you've got a watch, an Apple Watch.
By the way, no. Because my Apple Watch had run out of battery before the warm up. Because it was a long day. I was out in a bit everywhere.
I noticed that as well. I've got to say. What's annoyed me is now. Listen, he's been in a week, just over a week. Right, and he's in here on a Thursday. You should hear him. I'm thinking, what is going on here? And then this afternoon, he'll come out with all the cliches, guaranteed. He's a know-all now. He's an interim. Yep. What are you, an interim assistant manager?
Assistant to, I don't know.
Right, he's just a know-all, right?
But that could be it. I don't know what's happening. That could be my stint over. But I enjoyed it.
Queen's Park took them away. He'll become the 18
Hold on
coach.
a minute, though. You're all saying Barry Ferguson could come from nowhere to be the Rangers manager.
Yeah, Graham and Wilson.
I think the fans will start a petition now.
I disagree with that. Anyway, we've got some goals in your division you might be interested in. Ayr 1, Airdrie 0. George Oakley with the goal there. And a league further down, Alloa 0, Cove Rangers 1. Cherney causing a bit of trouble, cuts in as he often does from that right hand side, shoots, it's blocked and goes out for a corner. Brad Lyons tries an overhead kick for Kilmarnock, and Dingwall took his goal well during the week, didn't he? I know it became all about how bad Rangers were.
Good finish.
What a strike.
He took it nice. He really did. Right, Hugh Keevins, before we get any early drama, let's do this.
Yeah.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football. For the best football news and opinion online.
Topicality. In their last 6 meetings with Motherwell, 7 different players have scored for Rangers. Who are they? In their last 6 meetings with Motherwell, 7 different players have scored for Rangers. Can you name them?
You know the drill by now, but if you don't, it's at Clyde SSB. We're looking for one tweet with all the correct answers on it, and you have to do it quicker than everybody else. It is a race. By all means, just throw some names in. You don't have to get all 7 to participate. You need to get all 7 to win. But if you want to just throw some names in, and we'll see how we get on during the first half. No goals yet, so we'll see what happens there. We've already spoken about Mark Wilson's stopwatch and the game last night between Partick Thistle and Livy. We'll keep an eye on all the big stories down the divisions as well. I told you Ayr are 1 up. What a signing George Oakley's been.
Yeah, prolific goal scorer. But Ayr have dropped out of it. It's really only the business of Falkirk and Livingston now, I think, the outcome of the title. Would you agree, Mark?
Ayr's got 2 games in hand. Well, today obviously will be 1 on Livy. So I think Ayr will hang in. They will hang in. They've got the players to it. But yeah, Falkirk and Livy might be the favourites in this minute.
Time now in the Championship, Hugh. You know, they three teams, they got to show a bit of character. He sort of fell out it a little bit. I fancied them big time. The last few games I'd watched them against Hibs in the Cup, although they lost, I thought they really looked good in the sense of good players, good experience as well. Got the goal scorer in Oakley. I thought they're going to push on. And they've just drifted off a little bit.
Last week was a big one. They're 1-1 and Livy scored in the 94th minute. A Muirhead free kick for about 25 yards to win the game. So those games are crucial when it comes into the title.
I was trying to explain to Hugh what his goal celebration was last week, but I couldn't describe it.
How's he get away with that?
And I wondered if maybe you two could describe it to him. Have you not seen it? Gordon Dalziel, I thought it would be something that you would have been all over, quite frankly.
I heard.
Bearing in mind,
I scored 200 of them.
Imagine when you score 3 in the same day. Difficult.
Your names would be Gabs.
Great.
Gabs has scored a hat-trick.
I think we've already taken this too far for a Saturday afternoon, so we'll just leave it there and get back to it. But yeah, I do regret bringing that up, I have to, but I should have known where we were going. Right, what we got? Nothing yet. Motherwell trying to just get forward and put a bit of pressure on, but not easy. They did force another corner as well as Rangers tried to just clear the lines. Robin Proper. Motherwell actually have the ball in the net, but the flag was already up
from the corner.
So I guess that would be one of those where, if I've read that right, I don't think VAR could change that or anything unless.
By the way, their set pieces were good the other night. I liked the one that Casey scores first from. It's just a wee block. We ended up talking, prolonged about blocking because Eagleman and on the line and that. But Casey or Motherwell worked it well. Just some of the traits of a new manager.
Well, VAR is checking because I don't think the whistle had gone.
Ooh.
So we'll take a wee look.
Could be a big moment
and see what happens. But as it stands, it's Motherwell who are hoping, keeping their fingers crossed to see if they've taking the lead or not.
There's nothing that dims the air of celebration more than a goal for the visitors. So Barry Ferguson will be hoping all is well.
Yeah, it was prolific Dan Casey's shot, spilled by Jack Butland really poorly, and Armstrong slid the ball home. I'll tell you what, Jack Butland will really be hoping that it is offside because it's a bad mistake. I don't think the flag was for Armstrong. I think it's for someone else initially before that, because I don't think there was any suggestion that Luke Armstrong was offside, but it was something in the build-up, and Jack Butland really needs it because it was a poor goalkeeping error and good anticipation from Armstrong, and actually it was really slack from Rangers. I'll tell you what,
it's a goal.
We've got a goal at Ibrox.
Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, Motherwell 1, and Luke Armstrong slides Motherwell in front after a VAR check. It was a really poor mistake from Jack Butland. This is a simple shot, low intensity, right along the ground. He spills it, and Luke Armstrong has slid Motherwell into an early lead. Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, brilliant start for the Motherwell manager. He's went there, he was very confident. He said it early. Look, there's still a long time to go, but I said to you about Queen's Park, St Mirren. It's okay going away from home to Kilmarnock, getting a result. There's 49,000+ people in there demanding a performance this afternoon, and I've got to say, I've seen it on my phone there. Butland.
Excuse me?
Yes.
You've seen it on your phone? Somebody text you?
Yeah, somebody's. Yeah, Ibrox or WhatsApp. And I've got to say, Jack Butland is. Oh, that is a howler of all howlers for me. But well done to Armstrong. Great follow up. Striker player, and he gets his reward.
He's had a poor season, Jack Butland. At one time there was talk of making him captain, and what a magnificent signing he had been. But he makes more than his fair share of mistakes, and the last Motherwell game, Fir Park, he got away with one there when he punched the ball into his own net, and they disallowed the goal for a foul, which they then agreed later on was not a foul, and the goal should have stood.
These are the things as an interim manager that you just can't deal with. You can't legislate for individual errors, and hearing that there's a couple of them in there as well. Not just Jack Butland's error. So a test for Barry Ferguson. His team fall behind again. Can they show the same character they did on Wednesday night?
Yeah, it is a big moment, that, and it's Luke Armstrong who puts Motherwell in front at Ibrox. I don't think he would want this, obviously. In fact, it's more than I think. He certainly wouldn't have wanted this start, Gordon. But I guess Barry Ferguson will be somewhat comforted by the fact he knows this team's got a bit of character from the other night. Is that, you don't want to have to go back there so quickly, but that would be the mentality he'll be looking for.
Look, I think you're right, Gordon. You can't keep going, well, okay, we lost the first 2 goals the other night, we showed great character, Barry demands these standards. Now, I keep going back to this, right? I'm really get fed up listening about, Barry will not let these standards. You think about Barry Ferguson's team talk Wednesday night. It'd be the most passionate team talk he's ever had, right? In that dressing room. They come out in 20 minutes, they're absolutely terrible, they're 2-0 down. Think about his team talk this afternoon as they're leaving that dressing room. We're at Ibrox, this is what it is to play with Rangers. He'd have gave them everything. They got a goal behind Motherwell. So sometimes, as much as you can say, well, Barry will not let this happen and Barry will not let the other thing, your players have got to take responsibility. So it's up to them to pull themselves back into this game.
The new goalkeeping coach will need to take some responsibility as well and get to work on Jack Butland, because the mistakes that he is making for a goalkeeper of good quality, the mistakes he's making are unfathomable.
That will be a funny conversation. I wonder how Al McGregor is going to approach that.
I wouldn't have done that.
I would have saved that, mate.
I would have put my bonnet on.
Can
that.
I be honest? I think you would have saved it.
It's terrible. I can't believe that when I seen it there. It's absolutely terrible. In fact, I don't think 49,000 Rangers supporters would believe that.
Anyway, what a big moment we've had already at Ibrox. It's Rangers 0, Motherwell 1. Luke Armstrong with the goal. Maybe doesn't look like your average footballer. Would that be fair?
I'm running about Motherwell looking at his partner. I would be successful. Me and Big Luke.
He's got the long hair, the ponytail, the beard. Yeah, he's doing him, which is fine.
Yeah. You're grabbing the next available seat in the Team 40. I'm telling you now. Where's Big Luke gone? Right, Gaffer, I'm in there beside him.
But he did it against Celtic.
Listen to Brad.
I know.
I'm only saying that because it happened to me at Ibrox. All the good looking guys, the David Coopers, Big DJ, Parley and Z. Where's Big Beak? Where's Big Beak?
I'm trying my level best to ignore him. I go back to the Celtic game and Luke Armstrong scored a goal. So he done it against Celtic and Rangers. Yeah, he doesn't look like a footballer at all. He's like somebody out of a
that's fine. Yeah, I was worried how insulting we were going to get.
But he certainly puts himself about.
Robin Proper is down with a head knock. He's getting some treatment on that. So as usual, they don't tend to take many chances. It didn't look terrible in the initial viewing, but I suppose any head knock needs to be treated seriously. So we'll take a look and see if he can continue. That's us past the 15 minutes. So it's Motherwell that have made the fast start. We've got no goals in any of our other featured matches. We only have 2 in the Premiership today, of course. Ross County and Kilmarnock, and the other one is Dundee against St Johnstone.
It's interesting that if Proper save had to, hopefully he's not, obviously it's just a little not, has to come off Balogun going on so early. I think if Balogun was probably up to the fitness that they want, I think Balogun would have started, because Proper has been a part of that sort of a defensive mistakes. And you looked at it on Wednesday night. Yes, he took the younger player off, left Proper on because he didn't have a lot of choice, but Proper was all over the place.
Yeah, so lots of ropey moments in that game at Rugby Park, and very ropey at the beginning of this one as well, because Jack Butland rolls the ball out. I don't think he's to blame in that initial one. Cyril Dessers collects it. His touch is too heavy. He gives it away terribly. And then when the shot comes in, it is real bread and butter stuff for Jack Butland. But he spills it, and there is Luke Armstrong. Robin Proper is going to get bandaged up, but will continue. It's the old sort of Terry Butcher type. Maybe not quite as dramatic.
You have to see everything in the context of Thursday in Istanbul. I mean, you need reliable defenders there, that's for sure. So you don't want any additional injury problems. You've already got the problem with Clinton Insiala, insofar as he was so bad Barry Ferguson had to take him off half an hour into the game against Kilmarnock, and he's not even on the bench today. So you don't want defensive problems.
How far Suter away? Have you heard how far he's away for him?
He trained, didn't he? The other day. I think that was what I nearly said. I nearly said Philippe Clement. That is what Barry Ferguson said at his press conference. So he cannot be too far away. And returning to the bench, we mentioned Leon Balogun, but Dujon Sterling as well.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about him.
No, what will be interesting midweek, because I think we could all agree that league performances and the way Rangers went about their league business had to change from Philly. Come on, but European business, I just wonder how much Barry Ferguson and his coaching team follow the blueprint of what's went before.
Because that's not been a problem.
That's not been a problem at all to get them to this stage.
Maybe bring Philippe back for that one game.
Special advice.
Imagine Barry Ferguson just picked up the phone.
Give me your tactical notes.
What's the secret?
I wouldn't put that back. If they get a couple of more injuries, I'm expecting Goff and Brown to run out the tunnel on Thursday night.
This new Motherwell high press, if you like, a bit more of a kind of front foot off the ball, it's causing Rangers one or two problems. They've now won themselves a free kick in a good crossing position.
I like it, Gordon.
Well.
The reports I got on Wednesday, unfortunately, I couldn't make it up.
Why not?
I was busy doing my kitchen. The first half, they were excellent. Real good tempo, pressed very high. Obviously, with the change of tactics and everything, a little bit in the second half, near the end of the game, started tiring a bit. But I think this is the way this Motherwell manager wants to go. I quite liked, and it's okay to say talk's cheap, right? But he says today, look, we're not going to Ibrox just to be visitors. We're going there to try and win a football game. Great start. Okay,
I think that's the interesting thing. There's one thing saying it, another thing the players being brave enough to carry that out, and within what we played 16, 17 minutes or something like that, it sounds like they are carrying it out.
Look at your
Rangers under pressure.
I'm just waiting on next week him bringing the stopwatch for Beat the Pundit, so that you can prove beyond all doubt that I don't give the 30 seconds. Speaking of goalkeepers, if we're talking about Jack Butland making an error, this would have been a concern there for Ross County, because Jordan Amisa was down injured. How good's he been, the Ross County keeper, since he came in? I felt sorry for him in the game against St Johnstone, because he made multiple saves, and then his defence go and really make life difficult for him. He even makes the initial save, and it's the rebound that scored. He's been brilliant. He's down injured, but I think he is going to continue as well.
I'm not surprised there have been no goals at Dingwall or in Dundee, because tension is high at both those places, and mistakes can be fatal. So two very nervy occasions because of what's on the line.
I think particularly Dundee, Gordon, we all know this league can do this. I mean, even up the top, well publicised long winning run, then long losing run for Aberdeen, and things can change quickly. But you go back to that middle week in January where Dundee draw with Rangers and draw with Celtic. They then, in the very next game, go and put Dundee United out of the cup, and the fans just think this is great. They lose 6-0 against Hearts, then 6-0 against Celtic, and apart from a 4-0 win against Airdrie in the cup, they've lost every other game since, and it's just, what a quick fall off.
They've lost 19 goals in 5 league games. It's incredible. And you've gone from a manager that I think was lauded at Dens Park to I've heard one or two saying, time's up, he has to go, the nature of the beast, that's just the way football happens. I think that's massive today. I just think St Johnstone, I watched them last week. They've got some. He's brought in. Obviously, he was backed in the January window. He's changed it about. He's got his sort of own players in. He's got good options coming off the bench. Kirk obviously getting the goal last week and everything like that. So he's got a sort of strong squad now. He's lauded up there by the St Johnstone fans. They've really bought into him. He's got a momentum. That's what you could say, momentum. That's what he's got.
Diomandis had a shot from distance, easily held by Ellery Balcombe. It's just seen goals going in down the leagues as well. Have you seen? So it's Dumbarton 0, Steny 1, Corey O'Donnell with the goal. Did you see his goal a couple of weeks ago? Corey O'Donnell.
No.
Yes.
Rolled into him about 40 yards out maybe, and he sort of does this nice pirouette. Defender can't get anywhere near it, and smashes it over the keeper's head from miles out. What a goal it was. But anyway, scored again.
Steny absolutely fine. Going for back to back, that's quite an achievement. Not many people do that. I know we've seen Awa do it, Paul Hartley with Cove, but Steny would be something else.
What a season it would be for the local area. Imagine Steny and Falkirk both did it. Be quite something, wouldn't it?
Falkirk, for me, are the easiest on the eye of the teams who are in for the title. I mean, to be perfectly honest.
Great timing. They've just scored. Liam Henderson has put them one up at the Accies.
Not likely. But they are the easiest on the eye. They're a good watch. I mean, I always praise Davy Martindale at Livingston for simply hanging in there all the time. But you get conjunctivitis watching his team.
I think that's harsh. Maybe last night I watched them on Tuesday, Hugh, Livingston,
and
they were
season,
good.
See, because they're one of the bigger fish now, I think they do play a bit more.
They do, without doubt. I know, no, last night, but I had that opinion without really looking into them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's unfair.
What do you
sometimes.
think happened to him last night? Just your tactical genius.
That was it.
That was
it. Baffled him.
Did you go? Sorry, did you say to watch Livy?
Aye, against Morton midweek.
Yeah.
3-2.
Bit of scouting.
Late winner.
Yeah.
Is it a late winner?
But Livy were, Morton started well, but
Have
Livy
you had to
played.
juggle your under-18s role? How's that working?
I've had to miss the games, obviously, because last week they were away at Dingwall, so I can travel there.
How did they go yesterday?
They won 2-0 yesterday.
Were you there?
He just said he had to miss the game.
I was at the first team game, the kick-off.
Hold on.
Where were you yesterday morning about 7:30, 8 o'clock?
In the gym.
Sitting having a coffee with who?
You.
Right, told me I've got a full day. I have to go to Capello. I have to go to the game, the under-18s. You just said you didn't go.
Scotland against England under-18s. One of our players was playing for Scotland, so I did go.
Alright, okay, I thought it was wrong.
This under-18 game kicked off at 6 p.m.
My apologies.
I'm still balancing. Okay. I'm still doing the training at night.
And is Brian still balancing the women's team?
He is. He's trying his best to. Yeah. They play tomorrow. Yeah, Queen's Park tomorrow.
A bit easier. Oh, nice break up the park for Motherwell. They've worked it into the box, and then Slattery, but he hits the side netting on the angle. He's got a bit to go to catch James Tavernier, but it's a landmark day for Callum Slattery. It's his 100th. Rather than 5, but really good achievement for him, who's had a torrid time with injury, a full year out, remember. Jeffrey was kind of caught under the initial ball, which really frustrated Barry Ferguson. Do you know what I've noticed? Look, every manager's got their different styles. It's not one's right and one's wrong. He's extremely animated on the touchline, isn't he?
Yeah.
Barry Ferguson.
Oh, Barry? Yeah, he's got passion in it. He knows how much it means to the supporters. He was that sort of a player. He had that sort of thing about him. He's just trying to get that energy from the touchline, because, Clement sometimes come in for a bit of criticism. Fans, for some reason, think that the more animated you are, it means you care more. It doesn't. Just styles of the management, that's all it is.
It might have been Tom Sparrow who had the final shot for Motherwell, but either way it hit the side netting. Cherny's then had a shot from distance that goes over the bar. So I feel like I had one more question on the Partick Thistle theme. Oh no, that was it. See, was it Scotland schoolboys?
Aye.
And they battered England, didn't they?
Aye. Well, I left when it was 3. I left at half time to get back up to the game, but they were good. So we had our young right back, Liam Rooney, playing for it. So it was good. Aye, played well. But it was boy from Morton who'd scored a first half hat-trick
I think
up
he
front.
Got 4 in the
Did
end.
he get 4?
I think he got 4, yeah, I'm sure I saw that. So
yeah, it was good.
What an achievement that is.
I'll just remind you of that question.
Yeah,
first half teaser. In their last 6 meetings with Motherwell, 7 different players have scored for Rangers. Can you name them? Last half dozen meetings with Motherwell, 7 different Rangers players have scored against them. Who were they?
Quite a straightforward question. I think we need to get up earlier to beat you lot, because I think some of you will be all over it. So get your guesses in there at Clyde SSB. I can see very few people straying too far away, to be honest. What we got there, Charlie Bear thinks that Robin Proper might be one of them.
No, he's not.
Okay, you might have to reassess and try and get the rest of them. So at Clyde SSB, the race is on. Let's see if we can get the podium filled with all the correct answers. We've only got 1 goal. Dessers wasn't expecting a cross there from Jeffy. I don't really know what's gone on. It ends up hitting him on the shoulder, and this is, it's Cyril Dessers in a nutshell. Gordon Dalziel, how he takes his goals brilliantly the other night, and he's still plenty of time. You wouldn't bet against him scoring today, but if Jack Butland is the main culprit for the Motherwell goal, second in line for the blame will be Cyril Dessers. Yeah,
that's the tag he gets. I've got to say, he's in the right positions for me. I'm a massive fan of his.
You do love him.
Yeah, I do. Ever since he paid for the haircuts, he's just went up my estimations. I like that. But he's a goal scorer. See the other night there, that finish, although you've got to criticise Kilmarnock's defence, I think it was Yilmaz, played the long ball over the top. He takes up brilliantly. That's a striker with confidence and form. Look, does he miss chances? Yes. But I would much rather see my striker missing chances than looking up and going, he's not had one sniff at goal this afternoon. Dessers can score goals. He scored them last season, and he's up there this season as well. What has he got, about 18, round about that? So, and we're still 1st of March.
Who else can they rely on, really, to score goals? Tierney's chipped in.
Well, all of a sudden,
they're decent.
All of a sudden, Igermani has now gone, I think, 7 games without scoring. If he fails to score today, 8.
He's dropped off a little bit, isn't he?
That's more than a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
he's playing slightly different, though, is he? He's playing a bit deeper, Igerman, just to accommodate Dessers in the side.
Even his overall play for me.
He's already at 8.
Right, so today would be 9 then.
Today would be 9. But there is still plenty of time for all of these players to score, because the game is still in the first half, very much so. We're approaching the later stages of the first half hour, and it is Motherwell who lead that Luke Armstrong goal to 0. There's a big goal in the Championship which might concern Mark Wilson. Wraith Rovers 0, Queen's Park 1. Zach Rudden with the goal there for the Spiders. Speaking of which, did you see Leon King has gone on loan?
Yes,
to the Spiders
from Rangers to Queen's Park. How obvious is it that he needed to go somewhere and play?
100%. I feel for him, because it didn't matter. He came on against Hibs, didn't he, at centre back. Then he played in the European game. He was played right back because Tavernier we played in. I think he lasted 15 minutes, got an injury, the lad. Unfortunate for him. But he must be delighted with that. You get in there every day, you train, you know at the end of the day there's no reward for it. You're not going to play, you're probably not going to come on. Whereas he's going to Queen's Park, good manager, Championship, he'll play most weeks. I think that's a great move for him.
I wonder how that's taken so long. You know, because the management team, I can only suspect that the management team wanted to keep him around, and more often than not, he didn't feature on the bench, he didn't feature at all.
We've got another goal at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, Motherwell 2, and it is Tom Sparrow for the second game in succession under Barry Ferguson. Rangers go 2-0 down, this time at Ibrox. The Steelmen are flying. The Rangers crowd turned up with a big expectancy today. James Tavernier on his 500th appearance, he gives the ball away, but Motherwell still have work to do. Work it to the right, so much space for Tom Sparrow, and it is a goal. Rangers 0, Motherwell 2.
If you were a Sparrow, you would be flying when you think about it. But that is shocking for Barry Ferguson, and I wonder, we'll get to Andrew McLean at half time to find out what the mood is like inside that ground, because you would find it unbelievable that in 3 successive home games Rangers could go out of the Scottish Cup to Queen's Park, the most humiliating result in their history, then play St Mirren and lose 2-0, causing the manager to lose his job 24 hours later. And surely there couldn't be a third in a row where Rangers lose the first home game under Barry Ferguson's control. But Motherwell are 2 up, and they missed a chance earlier. They ought to be 3 up.
Yeah, I told you, it's a different kettle of fish when you go to Ibrox and there's 49,000 there screaming at you, demanding that you produce the goods, and they haven't been doing that. We all talk about character. I'll tell you what, they'll need some character now, because as much as you can look at Barry Ferguson, he can't come on the park and do it for you. You've got to do it for yourself. Look, they showed the other night there that they did produce that. You just wonder, will he make a substitution?
I think, Mark, what will really frustrate as well, but credit Motherwell first, because they take advantage, and it's a really good finish. Tom Sparrow's got work to do. It's a nice slow finish into the bottom corner. We won't blame Jack Butland for this one, but Rangers midfield is non-existent there. Truly, not to exaggerate it, Motherwell get the ball and they're just on to Rangers' back four, and then the back four is so narrow that Tom Sparrow's able to just stroll into the box and put it in the bottom corner.
Credit to Motherwell for finding the spaces and picking the pass and the right time of pass and the run from Sparrow, and it's a decent finish. But you're right, it'd be alarming if you were a Rangers fan taking that in. Very passive as well from a back four, so that's a big concern for Rangers. But new Motherwell manager, I think you can see the style of play right away, more controlled and building up, promoting bodies forward at the right times and getting their rewards within half an hour.
Well, they said it'd be a new manager's bounce.
Well,
unfortunately for the Rangers fans, they're looking at the wrong dugout.
I said to you before the game started, goodwill can easily become ill will in football, and I think you have to be alarmed by the fact that Rangers can be opened up as easily as Kilmarnock did, and Motherwell are doing at the moment. But can they get to half time? Because when Václav Černý scored at Rugby Park, you knew
changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, you knew that there was only going to be one winner after that. So Motherwell need to get in to the dressing room 2 up.
I think there's a difference here, Hugh, and I'll tell you what I think the difference is. I think that Kilmarnock retreated at 2-0.
Yeah.
I don't think Motherwell will do that. I think Mark's right
hits
about
the side netting, one of those where some fans think it's in and then get the quick let down, but we do have a goal elsewhere.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Whichever side took the lead in Dingwall, it was going to be a big moment, and it has gone to the hosts. It is a goal for Ross County. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0. Ball ended up fired high into the net. The Staggies absolutely delighted with that. Derek McInnes, he's been through the emotional ringer this week. He was 2-0 up, of course, against Rangers, then lost the game. He's now gone up there to Dingwall and finds his side 1 behind. Remember, those teams are so close in the league. The 6-pointer, there's been a quick check on it and goal given there as well, and it looks like Kieran Phillips has been credited with it. So Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
They're in trouble here.
Yeah, they are.
They are in trouble. I watched him the other night, go off to a great start. They punished Rangers. They played very direct, and then they totally, they backed off. They contributed nothing in the second half to the game. They're falling like a stone as well. They're lucky that Dundee aren't in great form. They're lucky that it's so tight that a couple of wins gets them out it. They need a big turnaround up there. But once again, I'll say it, what Ross County turns up week in, week out, must be great to support them. You never know what you're getting.
Lots of groans inside Ibrox, Hugh.
Yeah,
the party atmosphere is gone after 30 minutes.
Goodwill, ill will, and that's why Rangers have to score before half time. They have to give the fans some sense of a resurgence, because a home defeat for Barry Ferguson in his first game, the word optics comes to mind. Not a good look.
However, there is a VAR check for a possible red card for violent conduct, but no, now play is waved on, so who knows.
Was that against Motherwell?
Not entirely sure. I think it could be one of those. I think there was an incident where Diomande was bundled into the back off the ball, but even at the time the referee just played on, and I don't even think anyone complained. So
VAR
it's over quite quickly.
VAR needs a good day. It's had a bad week, and it needs a good day today, because you've had 2 goals wrongly disallowed, affecting the outcome of matches. So VAR needs to be good today. It needs to be a good boy.
Ayr 2, Airdrie 0. George Stanger with the goal.
Airdrie were starting to show a little bit of signs of improvement. I was talking to Mark, obviously I'm right up to the championship.
He loves the championship.
I'm loving
now.
the championship banter in the office, and he fancied Airdrie to make a little bit of a...
Are you sure it's not just that it's easier to get a result against Thistle than it is against Ayr?
That could be a point. Yeah, I've never noticed that.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to be really positive about it.
I know. You could be right.
But anyway, it is Ayr 2, Airdrie 0 at Somerset Park. What an emotional roller coaster you must be on, Gordon Dalziel, for the championship, because do you want your pal Mark Wilson to succeed? Probably not. You don't strike me as the type. You wouldn't want your old team Ayr going up and outdoing what you did.
Correct.
There as manager.
Yeah.
So really, from your own selfish perspective,
I hope Morton do well. I've no ties whatsoever with Morton. No, I've got to be honest and put my hand up. Yes, I would love Mark to fail miserably.
I did it, by the way. I did the pre-match lounges Yesterday I had to go and
you're doing
Pre-match
everything.
lounges.
at this pre-match lounges, yeah. So you have to go over and say your wee piece and.
Fans asking for
by
it.
the way,
They want
they
me.
did not like you.
Did they not? The Thistle fans.
No.
I love the
I
Thistle
said
fans.
you might be coming tonight. And they were going to get you if they seen you.
Goodbye. I love the Jags. But no, I'll tell you what, this man's impressed me. He's doing brilliantly. Needs a victory, right enough. Or he'll be holidaying with Clement.
What a hypocrite you are.
No. I do you know what? I think for football, I think Falkirk, in my opinion, are the best football side in the league. I love Davy Martindale, right? I didn't like him didn't like his style of football last night. Thought they were shocking the way they played first half. But I love the guy. I think he's brilliant. I think he's a great character. And you always want to see your old club, Ayr United, failing.
Honestly,
I'll not be invited back. Saying that, I wasn't invited back to the 100th.
Morton won up in Dunfermline, which was, Dunfermline, you talk about, you and I remember Dunfermline as a truly big club dazzler.
Yeah.
And they're in danger of dropping into the third tier of Scottish football.
Ayr look home and hosed already. 3-0 up now against Airdrie. Curtis Main. Is that one of his first goals? He's not scored many, has he, since he went there? Curtis Main. I think there would be a real hope that he could have torn up the championship, so to speak, but he's not found it easy. George Oakley's been in great form, and it's his first goal since moving to Ayr.
It's a lad Tizzler, isn't it? Am I right in saying that?
Tizzler?
What's his name?
Tidser.
Oh, Michael.
Tidser. Sorry. Yeah. He's finding it difficult. He's having a tough time there. I've got to be honest.
To be fair, that he got the job because they were having a tough time, isn't it? It's hard
but he
to go and turn
wasn't
it
pulling
around.
up trees at Kelly, was he? And his first job, and he's went into it. And Hugh quite rightly says, look, you've no right to say you're a big. You've got to earn the right now. But in our day, Dunfermline were massive.
Yeah.
I remember playing their full houses, 15,000, whatever it may be.
European competition.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he's went into a big club with big high expectations. I feel for a lad, right? I think this has been too quick for him. He may turn it around, but I think it's been too early.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We said in the games out with Ibrox, the goals were going to be massive. They're both nervy occasions. They're both fraught. And I can tell you, it's Dundee 0, St Johnstone 1. It is a huge goal, and it's that man again. It is Mackenzie Kirk. He's been a real find for St Johnstone this season. He's been excellent in recent weeks and months, and he has scored again.
If the scoreline turns into the result, it's officially crisis time at Dundee. You can't lose 6 matches on the bounce, dropping down like a stone, and you will literally be bottom of the pile if the scoreline becomes the result there. So it is critical now for Tony Docherty that he finds an equaliser, if not better than that, a winner.
That's him up to 9 for the season. He obviously got the winner during the week, Mark. St Johnstone against Ross County as well. And he's been good.
Oh, really good. I mean, I wondered when he came in if it was the old, father-son relationship, if it was given on merit, or he was bumped up the queue. Definitely been given on merit, and he's a guy that's got St Johnstone going when they needed it most. So a real threat, and Tony Docherty find it difficult.
I said momentum, and St Johnstone have got that in abundance just now. There's just something I've got. Look, I'm doubling down here. When I seen him coming in at first, I'm thinking, guaranteed relegation. They've no chance whatsoever. He's got some players in. He's changed 1 or 2 things about. He's got a great belief. He's getting carried about the King James's pub when they win. The fans are buying into him. I'm delighted for this guy. I think he's a fresh breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air to the game.
Do you know what? Momentum goes in 2 different directions. It goes good to better, or it goes bad to worse. And St Johnstone are good to better, and Dundee are bad to worse. And that's why the scoreline is the way it is at the moment. But Tony Docherty, he cannot walk off that touchline not having won a point today. 6 defeats in a row. Crisis.
Could you ever imagine that you could look at Scottish football and Tony Dock or Derek get relegated, another one was in the playoff, and they've worked together for so long. But that's where we are just now, because right now, out of those 3 teams, right? And I know Ross County are still in thereabouts, but out of the 3 teams, St Johnstone are the informed team. You would bet on them.
Well, a lot can change today, and then a lot can change in the coming weeks as well, so we'll wait and see.
Shall we get rid of this?
Yeah, why not? Let's round off this teaser. I think Jefty's going to get an absolute ear bashing from Barry Ferguson at half time. I was going to say you'll have been there, Mark. It wasn't meant to be critical. I know we often are of you, but
thanks.
See, it's the worst position to play because he's
standing right next to the manager.
He's having one and he's standing right in front of Barry Ferguson.
Yeah.
Before we do it, Hugh.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Are you all keeping Dundee up now that they've equalised? It's Simon Murray. It's a long throw in from the left. He turns it home from close range. Probably pulls out the angry man celebration as well.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, level, game on, big game as well. So Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1. Great time to equalise. Right, Hugh, let's do this.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
In their last 6 meetings with Motherwell, 7 different players have scored for Rangers. They are Hamza Egeman, Cyril Dessers, Nadim Bahrami, Vaslav Cherny, James Tavernier, Kieran Dowell, and, remember him, Todd Cantwell.
Whatever happened to him? Well done if you got it right, and lots of you did. I think it was quite simple, quite Googleable as well, but I know you wouldn't do that because you're all upstanding members of the cyber community. Sean Grantham was in 3rd place. Well done to you, Sean. Aaron Foster in 2nd, and Blair Maitland is the winner, the gold medalist, 1st prize. Well done to you, Blair. You have the bragging rights. You can tell everybody all about it, whatever it is you're up to this evening. That does mean we're approaching half time. 3 minutes added for Dave Galloway up there at Ross County. It usually takes about 45 minutes for his wimpy to digest just in time for him to do his half-time report, which I'm looking forward to hearing. Ross County in the lead, Dundee and St Johnstone 1-1, but the biggest story of them all in the making is Rangers with Barry Ferguson and the hype and back at Ibrox 0, Motherwell 2 as we approach the break. So we'll see what the reaction is like. I don't think the Rangers fans would boo Barry Ferguson as such, but this has been... Well, listen, I'll let Andrew McLean tell you about it, but from what we can gather, a properly bad Rangers performance this. Really, genuinely, fairly awful. So we'll see what the reaction is like at the break.
Now, I mean, Barry Ferguson, as I said, a week ago was working the lounges at Ibrox and writing a column for a newspaper. Now he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders because it's Ibrox.
Diomande shot pushed over the bar by Balcom.
And he cannot afford to lose his first game as Rangers manager at Ibrox. The scenario last weekend, Celtic lost. Rangers should and ought to have won, but they were awful. Now the scenario is that as things stand at the moment, Celtic's 13-point lead at the top could turn into 16 points if Rangers slip up, and Celtic then go a few miles along the road in Paisley and beat St Mirren 16 points ahead. That is the possibility for Celtic.
Half time at Dens Park, Dundee against St Johnstone, a big game, and the first half of it was watched by Gabriel.
Yeah, Gordon, what an end to the half there after such a tight and nervy opening few minutes. It was Mackenzie Kirk who scored 5 minutes before the interval to give the Saints a deserved lead, but Simon Murray, as usual, was there to turn it home just before the break to level things up for Tony Docherty's side. I mean, the game started evenly. Clearly so much on the line between the sides in 11th and 12th in the table. But after 10 minutes, it became clear who was the form side playing with confidence. The Saints looking more dangerous with their fast breaks, led by Adama Sidibe and the two wingers. The front three looking sharp. They did break the deadlock. There was a great ball in from the right. Sam Curtis putting it right on Kirk's head, and a lovely header from Kirk over the goalkeeper into the far corner, and it looked like a huge goal in the fight for survival. Looked like Simo Valakari's men were going to be taking the initiative into the half, but no, a long throw was giving Dundee a lifeline. It came in from the left, and there was Murray to turn it home from close range. The Saints just couldn't clear the ball. So what a big 45 minutes are coming up, Gordon, in the fight against relegation. In this fixture, the home team has only won one of the last 7 meetings. Will we see that again? Huge 45 coming up. It's Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1.
Oh, that is a big second 45 for sure. I probably say that every week, but once we get to this stage of the season, you mean it a lot, because a lot can change in that table in the second 45. Do we have a half-time whistle yet from Dave Galloway? We do, but I'll go back there in a second. I think he's having some trouble connecting to us. We'll speak to him right on the stroke of half-time. Charlie Mulgrew's Kelty. In fact, it's 95 plus 4 there, and they've taken lead down there at Queen of the South. Scott Allen was in last night telling us all about it. We're just waiting then on Ibrox. If Rangers could score just before the break, that would change everything. It would put such a different complexion on things. But as things stand currently, they trail Motherwell by 2-0, and it's not even an undeserved scoreline, you would have to say. I don't think even the most positive Rangers fans would argue with that. They have 5 additional minutes at the end of the first half to try and pull something back, and we all know about these momentum shifts and so on. So Hugh, if they could, it would make some difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It would change the whole complexion of the afternoon, and you would think that it would favour Rangers in terms of who actually wins by the end of the 90 minutes. But by all accounts, and we wait for Gabriel's report, but by all accounts, Rangers have had yet another poor day at Ibrox, and Motherwell have deservedly taken a 2-goal lead, and it ought to have been 3 because they missed a pinch in between goals 1 and 2. So they have the time added on. They have to make it work to their advantage.
I suppose Motherwell don't have to look too far, Gordon, for evidence of this. Now I know it's very different when you go to Ibrox compared to when you've got home comforts, but you remember the thriller when they played Rangers and they were 2-0 up as well, weren't they, inside 35 minutes? In fact, 2-0 up at half time, and they drew that game 2-2.
What concerns me, if you're a Motherwell fan, I touched on it the other night there, they're tired later in the game. They're doing a lot of running, they're doing a lot of covering. Rangers, if they get back into the game, you would think, oh, all of a sudden Motherwell under pressure. They've got to make sure they keep it tight and don't give Rangers any encouragement at all. Get to half time.
You sometimes act, Mark, like it's easy. See if it was easy to go to Ibrox as an example, get in Rangers' face the full time, press everywhere, cause damage at one end, keep it tight at the other. Everyone would do that. Do you know what I mean? It's not like people choose to not. So Gordon makes a fair point. Can Motherwell keep the intensity up?
It's just picking your times when to do it, I guess. You know, they've done it very well in the first period, pressed well. Hard to keep up for the full 90.
Let's go quickly to Dave Galloway. We'll squeeze him in before half time at Ibrox.
Yeah, Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0 at the interval. Gordon, Killy were at it from the start, enjoying plenty possession as they went on the attack, but the final ball was lacking. Lions overhead kick flew over. Dees had a shot charged down. Took a good double save from Amisa though to keep the visitors out. Twice parrying shots from Watkins after a long ball upfield sent him through. County started to see a bit more of the ball but without seriously threatening. However, they took the lead after 35 minutes. Phillips finishing high into the net from very close range after finding White, whose shot went under O'Hara. Phillips was on hand just to make sure. That made the hosts look more menacing as Killy were made to regret not cashing in on their dominant start. Plenty to play for at the interval. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
A big game there as well. Still waiting at Ibrox, Hugh.
Yeah, it's important that we wait and find out, because this is crucial. If Rangers go in 2 down, Ibrox is an unhappy place.
Well, they have a final chance from a free kick. Kofi Balmer's been booked for a foul on Jeffrey down the left, so they're going to be in a crossing position, if you like, put a ball into the box and try and score. They had some set piece routines which I know caused some debate during the week, whether it was over the top physically or not, but the goal stood, and they would look to try and replicate something like that. But no, half time, Andrew McLean.
Yeah, boos ringing around some of Ibrox after that first half, because it's Rangers 0, Motherwell 2. Barry Ferguson finds his side 2 goals down for the second time in a matter of days, and the scoreline for Motherwell is deserved because Rangers have been poor defensively. They've lacked anything going forward, continually giving the ball away, and up against a Motherwell side who have been impressive under Michael Wimmer. The first goal came 10 minutes in. Jack Butland rolling the ball out to Dessers. He took a poor touch, gave the ball to Motherwell, passed straight to Dan Casey at the edge of the box. His shot should have been caught easily by Jack Butland, but he spilled it into a really dangerous area, and Luke Armstrong beat him to the ball to find the back of the net. The flag went up for offside. That was against Dan Casey in the build-up, but VAR showing that he was onside, and the goal stood. But Rangers have been reduced to shots from distance. As I say, a real lack of creativity. They just can't hold on to the ball whatsoever. They're either giving it away in the midfield, or so many passes are just weighted so badly and going out of play and missing teammates. Barry Ferguson really frustrated on the sidelines, and no wonder given this performance. After that, Motherwell had a couple of chances on the break to extend that lead. Tom Sparrow hitting the side netting, but when he got his second chance, he did much better. James Tavernier, it's his 500th Rangers game today. He didn't cover himself in glory for this goal. He gave the ball away to Lennon Miller. The ball worked out to the right for Tom Sparrow. He had so much space. The Rangers defence was so compact. Jeffy had been pulled inside, and it meant Tom Sparrow had all the time in the world to take a touch, get into the box and find the bottom corner for 2-0. The supporters are not happy with what they've seen at Ibrox today. A big team talk and big decisions to be made for Barry Ferguson and his backroom staff. The half-time score at Ibrox is Rangers 0, Motherwell 2.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Looking to sell your Audi? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
You're really building that business, Josh. That's because you chose to bank with Virgin Money, earning cash back on your supplies, turning expenses into rewards on everything from Sanders to skip hire. He came, he soared, he conquered. Open Virgin Money's M account for business now. UK excludes NI, Channel Islands and Isle of Man. 18 plus. Terms and exclusions apply. Cashback rate of 0.25% backed by the current account switch service. Virgin Money is a trading name of Clydesdale Bank PLC.
Don't miss the fun and have a dabble with your digital dabbers at takeabreakbingo.co.uk. With hundreds of top games like Fluffy Favourites, Deal or No Deal and Clover Rollover, a great community to chat with, and free to enter prize draws every Wednesday, what's not to love? Start the fun at takeabreakbingo.co.uk. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleWare.org.
When it comes to Cheltenham, nothing's certain. Like when you back that absolute red-hot favourite. Who comes in stone cold last? But there's one thing that is nailed on this Cheltenham. With Ladbrokes, you get daily boosts, our best odds guaranteed, and a free bet every day, available online and in shop. It's big racing value you can bet on. From Ladbrokes. 18 plus online and shop. Opt in and place a qualifying bet. Minimax bet values apply. Selected markets. Min odds apply. Rules, restrictions and T's and C's. Take time to think. GambleAware.org.
When I first noticed my bladder weakness, a leak in the middle of the night could affect my sleep. But since I've started wearing Tenor Silhouette, I feel in control and ready for anything. They give me triple protection against odour, leaks and moisture, and feel just like underwear. You can't even tell I'm wearing them. The new award-winning Tenor Silhouette underwear, now even more discreet. Voted Bladder Weakness Product of the Year by Kantar. Survey of 8,000 people. Always speak to your GP.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lookers Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership as things stand. It's Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1, Rangers 0, Motherwell 2 and Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0. St Mirren Celtic is still to come in about 90 minutes time. In the Championship at the break, it's Ayr United 3, Airdrie 0, Dunfermline 0, Morton 1, Hamilton Accies 2, Falkirk 1 and Wraith Rovers 0, Queen's Park 1. In League 1, Alloa 0, Cove Rangers 1, Arbroath 1, Annan Athletic 0, Dumbarton 0, Stenhousemuir 3, Inverness 0, Montrose 1 and Queen of the South 0,
Kelty Hearts 1. In League 2, Edinburgh City 0, Stranraer 0, Forfar 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 1, Elgin City 0, Stirling Albion 0, East Fife 0, and the Spartans 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. The English Premier League is not on today, of course. It is the FA Cup, so hardly any games to choose from. Only one at the break. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0. The second halves are coming up next. They are all big, but if we're checking the temperature in Glasgow, Ibrox has got quite a story in the making. We'll go back there if we can after these.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the 3 o'clock games. Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. There are a few big stories developing, but certainly Ibrox here, if our audience is anything to go by, I think we'll be interested. Let's go back, Andrew McLean. That booing that we heard at the end of the first half probably tells its own story.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick this performance down with the likes of Queen's Park and St Mirren last month. It's been so poor from Rangers in pretty much every aspect of the game so far today. The supporters know it, that's why they were booing at a half-time whistle, and Barry Ferguson knows it as well. He was absolutely furious on that touchline so many times during the first half, because there's just been slack passes all over the place from pretty much every player on the pitch. There's been wrong decisions that have been made so many times. They're really not creating much and only getting shots away from distance. They've not managed to really break Motherwell down and create too many clear-cut chances. It's all been shots that have either been pretty easily saved by Ellery Balcom or have sailed over his bar. And then at the other end, it's actually been worse, because defensively on a few occasions they've been all over the place. Very avoidable goals that they've conceded. The first one, Jack Butland rolls the ball out, Rangers trying to break forward quickly, but it's a really heavy touch by Cyril Dessers, and it just allows Motherwell to nick the ball back really quickly. The ball played forward to Dan Casey, his shot then spilled by Jack Butland, and it looked the easiest of takes for Jack Butland. He goes down to his knees. You just expect that he's going to gather that and try and recycle the ball again, but spills it over to his left, and there is Luke Armstrong on hand, like any good striker should be doing, to follow it in. The flag goes up, but VAR of course confirming that goal will stand. And then the second goal as well, James Tavernier this time over on the far side from the main stand here. Looked a relatively simple decision for him, maybe just to either hold on to the ball or just get rid of it, but tries to play a cute pass down the line. Lennon Miller intercepts it, plays a nice pass inside, and all of a sudden Rangers are completely out of position, compact defensively. It's worked out to Tom Sparrow, and he has that finish into the bottom corner to make it 2-0. And you did wonder, after Barry Ferguson took over and the change that Rangers managed to make in the second sort of hour of that game against Kilmarnock midweek, would this be, a change for supporters? Would there be a fresh start, a positivity around the place? But the concern for these supporters at Ibrox is that a lot of the things that they've seen today were a lot of the things that were going wrong when Philippe Clement was in charge. Barry Ferguson and his staff have only been in the job less than a week, so it will take time for them to try and implement their style of play and get things across. But certainly that desire and the commitment and those buzzwords that people were using for what they saw from Barry Ferguson's side on Wednesday for the second bit of the game, that hasn't been there in the first half at all. So you just wonder, will they be able to spark that response again? It's a harder task, isn't it, because it was 2-1 at half time at Rugby Park, whereas here Rangers 2-0 down, and it's captain James Tavernier that leads the team out. Jack Butland and Ridvan Yilmaz coming out with him, but I can already see 3 changes are going to be made by Rangers. Hamza Igaman is going to come off and Tom Lawrence is coming on. There's also going to be a change for Yanis Hadji. He's off. Nadim Barami is on, and Leon Balogun is on to the park as well. Robin Cropper comes off for him. So Barry Ferguson not hanging about. 3 changes, and he'll be hoping that there's a change of attitude, a change in style, and a complete change from what he saw in that first half. And naturally people will talk more about Rangers, but I should say Motherwell have been excellent. Their press has been really good. Rangers haven't been able to cope with it. They've attacked Rangers really well. They've defended their box really well. Michael Wimmer will be absolutely delighted with what he's seen from his team, because this is his biggest test as Motherwell manager so far, and it could not be going better for him so far. Cyril Dessers standing over the ball. The Rangers crowd here are hoping that they're going to see something completely different for the next 45 minutes.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 at boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Did you know that with Ford, you can book a test drive for any of our new cars? Anytime, any place, anywhere. Literally. Anytime.
And projected sales and revenue are...
Any place. Anywhere. So simply go to Ford.co.uk, choose a car, and book a test drive in a matter of seconds today. Search Ford Book a Test Drive. Ford. Bring on tomorrow.
It's time to scale up that fishmonger business, Anne. With free day-to-day online banking from Virgin Money, you'll be a big fish in no time. Now that's a real catch of the day. Open Virgin Money's M account for business now. UK excludes NI, Channel Islands and Isle of Man. 18 plus fees apply for chaps and international payments. Terms and exclusions apply. Backed by the current account switch service. Virgin Money is a trading name of Clydesdale Bank PLC.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
Well, Hugh Keevins, what do you think's going on in the Rangers dressing room at half-time?
Well, the reaction of an angry man. Triple substitution. Midweek, it was Inciala, removed before half-time. Now it's proper removed at half-time. So in central defence, the two who started against Kilmarnock have now been dumped in successive matches. Hadji, always a favourite of the Rangers fans for a goal or an assist, hooked. And Igamani, 9 games now he's played in a row, no goals, hooked at half-time. There is a nightmare scenario on the cards for Rangers if they lose. They would go 16 points behind Celtic if Celtic beat St Mirren in the 5:30 kick-off. They have no game next weekend because they're no longer in the Scottish Cup. Therefore, their next league match will be on the 16th of March at Celtic Park. If they go there with a 16-point deficit to deal with, and Celtic make it 19 points, Barry Ferguson is already in deep trouble. That's how important these 45 minutes are. They have to score 3 goals. Not 1. That's not good enough. A draw, not good enough. They need to score 3 goals and win the match, or Celtic get a tremendous boost ahead of their kick-off in Paisley.
Fascinated by the approach taken at the break, Gordon. If the... what would the right phrase be? I think everybody knows the anger/frustration levels that Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann and Billy Dodds are capable of. You just wonder to what extent you can do that now. Can you go in, can you rip the place apart in the way that Barry Ferguson would have done in the mid-2000s as a player? Does the modern player respond that way? And by the way, I could be doing these guys a complete disservice. Neil McCann might be he's managed in the modern era and know that a lot of the guys might need an arm round the shoulder or whatever, but that must be a real test of the man management in there.
100%, because Barry Ferguson's looking at that. We've seen him on Wednesday night going over to Rangers supporters. We've seen him today. Apparently he's walking on the pitch and he's giving it big licks to the fans. The fans love him, rightly so. He was brilliant as a player. Look, they've played something like 135 plus minutes in 2 games and have lost 4 goals. So it tells you there's something really wrong. He's now throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping he can land a treble. It's as simple as that. He's putting guys on there. He's probably no trusting these guys. They've proved this season they've not big characters, they've not got big heart, they can't really turn a lot of things around. So he's hoping he gets a response. Look, he might get that this afternoon. He's putting his finger. Without shadow of doubt, he's decided, look, we need to make changes. Let's just get 3 guys on, see if we can turn it round.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I don't suppose Alan McGregor will be too happy about what he's witnessed in the first half either, Mark Wilson. So, like I said, a fly on the wall I would like to have been.
It would be interesting, and I'm sure the Rangers fans would like to know what goes on within that dressing room, with the dynamics of the coaching staff. Look, he had to do something. The performance was so below par that he needed to change something. He's shown he's a manager now that doesn't hang about. He's not getting any time to hang about, so why would he just put up with the same again? And the old cliche, you've got 10 minutes to turn it around. Well, you've had 45 minutes, so I tell you what, it's not been good enough, so I'm going to change it. But he needs those guys who he's brought on to affect the game in a positive fashion now. But again, you have to take into consideration the opposition. Motherwell, by all accounts, have been very good as well, so you need to be careful at the start of this second half. You don't go all guns blazing, lose a third and it's game over before the hour mark.
As we said, Hugh, the challenge is going to be, can Motherwell keep this up?
Yeah.
Just the intensity. I don't mean even the standard of play. It's just hard. It's physically demanding. Can you go and do it for the rest of this game?
You have to maintain physical fitness and mental sharpness, because Rangers will press, the crowd will demand that they do, and you really have to be on it. Rangers have had a shocking first half, as Andrew McLean has told us, and we could all hear for ourselves the booing in the background as the players went off at half time. These are 45, now 40 crucial minutes for Barry Ferguson, because the reaction to a home defeat would be negative in the extreme and hand Celtic a tremendous psychological boost ahead of their match at St Mirren.
Well, we've got a big story in the making. Can Rangers rewrite it though? Motherwell were 2-0 up at half time when these sides met at Fir Park at the end of December. That game finished 2 each. You might remember a whole host of VAR controversies in that one, involving Jack Butland. Was he or wasn't he fouled by Tony Watt? Did Lennon Miller deserve a red card for a challenge in the middle of the pitch? It had everything that day. So let's see what this game can come up with. In the meantime, let's set something up for you.
Second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played with John Eustace and Mikel Arteta. I have been managed by Dick Campbell and Willie Miller, cheery duo, and I started my career at an English club but played the rest of my career in Scotland. Who am I? Played with John Eustace and Mikel Arteta, managed by Dick Campbell and Willie Miller, started my career at an English club but played the rest of my career in Scotland. Who am I?
Great question. Let's get your answers in, please, at Clyde SSB. It's just one name. Throw anything you can think of out there, throw it in, see if it sticks, and we'll see if you can be the winner of the second half teaser. Gordon Dalziel tends to be quite good at this anyway. Andy sometimes cheats, so he's a real force to be reckoned with on it. It's a bad combination, that Ayr 3, Airdrie 1. So Airdrie have pulled one back, but is that going to be enough in the second half? Let's check in Paisley for the first time, shall we? Because the sun is shining, believe it or not. Is it the first day of spring? Is that what we consider the 1st of March? Anyway, there's some spring sunshine in the air for Roger Hannah. St Mirren are about to take on Celtic, and he certainly has some team news for us.
Yeah, the sun is shining at Paisley, and it's certainly shining in Celtic, Gordon. 13 points clear, and depending on events in the next little while here in Paisley and along the M8 at Ibrox, it could well be 16 points before close of play. Celtic, they make just a one change from the side that beat Aberdeen 5-1 at Parkhead on Tuesday night. Dyson Maida, 25 goals. He's obviously not that change, but he has moved out to a wide position to accommodate Adam Ida into the team. 2 3-0 wins already over the Buddies this season. Callum McGregor, Rio Hitati, Alistair Johnstone, who all scored here in August, all start today. And so do Austin Trusty and Nicholas Kunis shared the goals at Parkhead in January. They've won their last 7 against the Buddies, not lost here for 2.5 years since Ange Postecoglou was the manager. St Mirren, they went down 3-1 to Hearts at Tynecastle on Wednesday night, but of course memories still flooding back to last Saturday. Those goals from Michael Mandron and Toyosi Olusanya for the 2-0 win at Ibrox, and they are reunited in attack this afternoon. Mandron has opened talks on a new deal to stay with St Mirren beyond the summer. And of course there's that remarkable statistic: Philip Clement sacked 24 hours after the defeat to St Mirren, the 9th manager to be axed directly after a defeat to a Stephen Robinson team. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, Stephen Naismith, Robbie Nielsen, Stephen McLean among the others. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be safe even if he did lose here this afternoon. I'll just give you those teams, Gordon. St Mirren go with Zach Hemming in goal. It's a back three: Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic, Richard Taylor. Across the middle, Ryan Alabiosu, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyd-Munce. The skipper, Mark O'Hara and Declan John. And as I say, it's Olusanya and Mandron up front. The bench are Minsky, Womono, Tanzer, Kenny, Idowu, Kilty, Smith, Oseni and Scott. Celtic, Casper Schmeichel in goal. Then Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty and Jeffrey Sloop. Arnie Engels, Callum McGregor the captain, and Rio Hitati in midfield. And Nicholas Kuhn and Dyson Maida will flank Adam Ida. On the bench it's Sinisalo, Ralston and Taylor, Scales, Bonner, McCowan, Yang, Jota and Kenny. The referee is Matthew McDermott. The VAR is Andrew Dallas. And there has been talk, Gordon, of a minute's applause before kick-off to mark the 60th birthday of St Mirren legend Fraser Wisher. 60 today, and you've even given him the day off.
Brilliant, happy birthday. The first big chance of the second half at Ibrox went to Motherwell, and we've got another goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
But it is at the other end. It's almost exactly like what happened at Fir Park. Motherwell were 2-0 up at the break, and then just before the sort of 55th minute mark, Rangers scored, and they've done it again. This time Cyril Dessers with the goal. Game very much on.
Yeah, if you're a Motherwell manager, that's the last thing you want to see. Especially getting out in the second half, you're saying keep it nice and tight, frustrate them. But that man, and I keep telling you, all the doubters out there listening, he knows where the back of the net is. He's a good goal scorer.
I'm afraid that for you North Lanarkshire boys, you're a goner. That's the goal that will spark the revival, and Rangers will win 3-2.
So frustrating for Motherwell because they could have made it 3-0. It was a brilliant chance, but Rangers have got themselves back in it. That's right. Desser's just reactive in the box. Bit of a mistake from the Motherwell backline.
Well, a bit of good fortune, I think.
A wee bit. The spinning ball, maybe.
Just try and cut it out, and it falls into the path of Dessers. He makes no mistake. 55 gone. Rangers 1, Motherwell 2.
Well, the Rangers fans won't care if they win 3-2. They won't go on too much about successive matches going 2 behind so long as they win. But I do think it's early enough in the second half for Rangers to now work up a head of steam, and Motherwell's fitness as we go into the latter stages of the game will come into play, and also that problem of mental sharpness that affects players under these circumstances. So that's why I'm very much afraid for the two Gordons. You're a goner.
We'll see.
I think there's still a bit of football to be played in this. I'm expecting Rangers to throw everything at Motherwell. There's a bad timing of the goal, but credit to Dessers. He's in the right place at the right time. That's why I'm saying to you about people criticising his chances he's missing. See, the minute you put your finger on the button, you're thinking, who would you put your last 2 pens on? Dessers to score. And he's always there. He's always in good positions.
I love it when we get the old-fashioned indirect free kick in the box. So there was a pass back. The St Johnstone keeper Fisher, he just picked it up. No idea why, really. 9
don't
yards
see it often.
out. So the wall is on the line.
Yes.
All 11 players there. Simon Murray, but there's just too many bodies, and you're involved in any of those. I like that.
I must have been somewhere along the line, but it's one of the things you never work on, do you? You think somebody might have an elaborate plan to move the ball a couple of times, try and fool all the defenders that rush out.
This would have been before your time, but I'm sure my young football fan heart was broken by one at Hampden. You ever remember that? Motherwell and Celtic, a League Cup semi-final, I reckon.
Maloney scored?
Yeah,
before
someone
my
passed
time.
it back to the goalkeeper. Indirect free kick.
That's right.
Were you playing?
No, I think I must have been at United.
Alright. Are there a big difference in ages?
What?
Used to?
Me, I'm 40. What are you, Gordon?
35.
There we go.
Oh, right, no.
So maybe I was older than I thought. My heart was still
Exactly,
broken,
I'm
right?
trying to work that one out, yeah.
But yeah, to be fair, I would have been a teenager if you like. Motherwell are actually giving a good account of themselves to try and stretch the lead, but sometimes that's when you become vulnerable. It was actually a great tackle by Andy Halliday a minute or two ago on Cyril Dessers as Rangers tried to break forward. I know that Michael Wimmer's very demanding of his central midfielders and the running that they have to put in and so on, and I wonder if the 33-year-old Andy Halliday will come off at some point.
I wonder if he liked hearing that. You know, there's certain managers like a certain distance hit. I wonder, you know, if Andy's thinking at 33, no thanks.
What was your distance when you played with Celtic? What did you
Probably
have?
about 10,
10K?
11 probably as a full back.
I would desperate to go back to my time and see what I ran.
So am I.
You
What do you think?
right,
12,
I'm
12,
thinking
13?
you.
Yeah.
Oh, no chance.
That
You would have
pitches were
been
bigger.
at your level. You would have been probably 8K. I'll be surprised.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm surprised you said 8. I would be delighted with it. I was
5K.
over the moon with 8 there.
That's not good though.
How's it know?
No.
Well, you ran 10, you ran 2K more, man. I was a skillful player. You were a runner.
You weren't skillful.
Bajrami shot from distance. It's turned away for a corner by Ellery Balcombe. Motherwell have actually responded quite well to the goal, but of course Rangers, they'll fancy it. The fans will have their tails up again, because whatever the opposite of that is, Hugh, that was the case at half time. It's not like, you know, sometimes you get this, it's a stuffy day, you're not taking your chances, the other team do. That was right up there in terms of bad first half performances from Rangers.
I listened to Andrew McLean and he's comparing it with Queen's Park and St Mirren, and both of those performances were rancid. But it's a fascinating business now. If they lose, Barry Ferguson gets the blame. Goodwill becomes ill will. If they win, Barry Ferguson becomes the manager of a team who are thrilling. They may go 2 down in each of the matches, but they come back and the spirit's there, and it wouldn't have happened under Clement, etc, etc, etc. You have to score another 2 goals for that to be the case, and you know, as I say, I fancy Rangers strongly to get those other 2 goals.
I mean, I do remember it because I hold everything against you. You did say that at Fir Park that day, and the game finished 2 each. But that's all I've got. That's all I can cling on to. It doesn't mean you're wrong this time, as we well know. And Motherwell are going to make a triple change, and we said the midfield would probably be the focus of that. So Harry Payton, Davor, as he's known, will both come on in there, and Moses Ebiye. So that would probably be Luke Armstrong, the first goal scorer. He's had a bit of running to do, so he might come off for Moses, or maybe one of the other midfield players, and then Payton and Davor coming on.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Obviously, I think he had it in his head maybe 60-65 minutes, but the goals change everything, don't they? Rangers obviously got momentum now going forward, looking to get back in it. Look, I agree with you. I still think there's a lot of football to play, but if Rangers had to get the next goal in the next 10 minutes, I fully expect them to pick up 3 points. But Motherwell, I'm not surprised with that change. I think it's sensible. I think some of the players will start to get a bit tired now.
Yeah, you're right. It's that trio, actually. We probably could have called it. You know, Lennon Miller isn't coming off, so Callum Slattery, Andy Halliday and Luke Armstrong will be the 3 removed. But Mark, that's part and parcel now, isn't it? We all know you've got the 5 subs and all that. It's not like it's uncommon. It becomes actually a real part of the strategy sometimes.
Who finishes the game? Yep, and can often take you over the line. And you probably ask those midfielders, especially Andy at 33, to go and give you an hour and give your all, knowing fine well you've got the same quality or similar quality to come on. So sensible stuff. He realises his teams just needs a wee bit, another injection.
I can hear him now on Monday night, Andy Halliday. When I come off, Motherwell were winning.
It's a good time to come off.
Brilliant.
It's
brilliant.
Job
You would have loved that.
As a skipper, yeah.
I'll need to look into this, because he's been given the captain's armband today. A big hug from Michael Wimmer on the way off. Is he a bit of a teacher's pet in there with the new manager?
He must be a fan of open goal, Wimmer. He's watched it in Germany.
I did see him in Greg's buying a lot of cakes the other day before training. I'm not too sure what they were for.
He doesn't strike you as the type either.
Who?
He's many things, but I can't see him being a crawler.
Andy Halliday?
Nah.
Biggest one ever. It's written all over.
Oh, I know that dressing room. I can
Do you
see
know
a
what
few-
fancy him to be?
No.
Hi, Gaffer Link Melody.
He's too grumpy.
He's not even there.
He's too grumpy for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Andy is.
Aye.
I've never found Andy grumpy.
Nah, he is.
There's a lot of people on here I find reasonably grumpy, but never Andy.
Anyway, they're all on, those three that we spoke about. Rangers, well, they made their changes, didn't they, at the break? So
what's impressive about Motherwell is there's absolutely no inclination on the part of Michael Vimmer to say, right, everybody back, we'll try and stonewall this. He's trying to play football.
It's only good if that pays off, though.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if Rangers do get a goal and then a third goal, people will question them. But I agree with you to this the point just now.
I think the problem with that is you might lose anyway.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
And you'll never
100%.
really know. So it's I think fans certainly appreciate the ambition and the effort, but can Motherwell hold it? They do still lead.
Was that the problem?
3 gone.
Was that the problem before with the Motherwell fans? Did they just see a negative approach? Because this is, or what we're hearing is chalk and cheese to what went on at
I think perception,
start of the season.
Perception, is sometimes unfair, but once that sets in as well, I mean, to be fair, you always felt Motherwell never really felt like they would get battered off the big teams when Stuart Kettlewell was in charge, and that can be important because you quite often do over the years. You've seen it many times. He seemed to have a pretty good knack of making things difficult and got a couple of draws here and there and so on. So I don't think you can grumble at that. But the fans are liking what they're seeing so far. But I mean, the league's so tight. You're going to have to go and try and achieve something, Gordon.
Yeah, I think if you can just win the games, keep yourself up there. Look, there's still a possibility of top 6. Of course there are. Just the way the league is going, got to be difficult, no doubt about that. But it's all about next season. It's all about his recruitment in the summer. I think the different style of football will be played at Fir Park. I think he's now putting a lot of demands on players in certain ways, and that's not to have a go at Stuart. I think, Stuart, you're correct in what you said. Set up differently, all managers do, and Stuart Kettlewell had a great record at Motherwell. So new manager, new ideas, a freshness. Get to the end of the season, let's see where he takes us.
I also think recency bias plays a part. I think some of the goals Motherwell scored last season were quite nice on the eye, with Blair Spittle and Theo Bayer and so on. Anyway, your teaser please, Hugh.
Yes indeed. I have played with John Eustace and Mikel Arteta. I have been managed by Dick Campbell and Willie Miller. I started my career at an English club, but I played the rest of my career in Scotland.
Greg's Gardens wants to ask you, Hugh, if it is Derek Adams.
It is not.
Mick Boy wants to ask if it is John Sutton.
Not at all.
Okay, keep your guesses
I don't
coming,
know, did he
please.
didn't start an English club, did he?
Who? The guy that you've written down. Yeah, you've got it, Gordon Dalziel.
Is it?
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
Just with the... Yeah.
Our colleague David Friel, who's apparently waiting to go to a wedding, he's off the show. He's got it right as well. So
see the connection.
Always listening.
Yep.
Going to
always listening.
I love weddings.
He's always listening.
I love a wedding.
So you just keep arranging
your
own.
Yeah, I think there's one more in me.
How about Wraith Rovers? There's no challenge to Partick Thistle now.
What's the score?
4 down at home.
Oh, but I'll tell you what. How's Queen's Park feeling getting into the Thistle game? Is that a Glasgow derby?
Yep.
Yes.
Of course it is. Both of them are in Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasgow derby. I'm going to that one. When is it?
Oh, you say that every week.
No.
Why do you never go to football games anymore?
I do, but I'm so glad I missed yours last night because Gogglebox was on at 9.
It was good. I watched that.
I was good, innit? I love Gogglebox.
I missed it.
I'd love to be on that.
Gogglebox?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be brilliant.
I think you two would make quite a good pairing on that.
Mate, no, we wouldn't agree on the programmes we were watching at all.
I think they tell you. Do you think they're all sitting there with remote control going, turn that one off, we're not going to talk about that?
I'd keep buffering because of your fire stick.
Hey, you can come into my new kitchen. I'll probably be finished then.
What use is a new kitchen to you? You never cook.
I do cook. I'm a very good cook.
Do you?
Of course he is.
He does a lot more in the kitchen than cook you.
By the way, I swear, I want to see these two. Honestly, Mark and Mindy, these two guys.
Remember that show, Mark and Mindy?
Oh, I want to see these two. I'm not kidding you on.
Is that not Robin
Williams? One's a destroyer and one's a builder.
Yeah, that's right.
One's a destroyer, one's a builder.
And I don't know who's doing what. But I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see their faces when I don't
call
bite
these two Nanu.
them.
a good show, that.
I won't overshare too much medical information, but I was more amused than I should have been in moment of sort of semi-crisis last week when my wife was in labour, etc, and the anaesthetist, the guy who came in and called the shots and saved the day, he was called Robin Williams. I just thought this was hilarious. I don't know, I just couldn't get out of my head. He had it like printed in the side of his hat, you know, like footballers get it stitched in their boots.
He had it in his hat.
I had it, had
That's
it
good.
like
I like
stitched
that.
on the side of his wee.
He must get it all the time.
I know.
Or do you think he does it on purpose so people start a conversation?
No, I don't think
Mrs.
so.
Doubtfire?
No, he didn't strike me as that type. He seemed particularly unimpressed when we brought it up, actually, to be quite honest. But
we did an eccentric old doctor when our second child was born. He came out, it was 7:30 in the morning, January the 3rd. I mean, it's that time of year, but 7:30 in the morning is a bit difficult for some of us. And he said, "Your wife's had her baby." I said, "Boy or girl?" I said,
Both.
Boy. No, is it a girl? No, I can't remember. I mean,
so you didn't know?
That was how the news was delivered to me. I had to walk back in and ask, was it a boy or a girl?
Well, listen, proof, in case you needed it, that you're just never far away from Scottish football. I've got this theory, and when you're on the show and you're surrounded by it, you're never far away. So this wouldn't have been my story to tell, but I'm glad that his manager did it the other night, so I feel that I can let it off, get it off my chest. So my wife's had her son, and I come downstairs going to pick up our daughter, our 4-year-old, to take her up to meet her new brother, so she's excited. So we go downstairs, we're waiting in the lift, and this is Wednesday night, and I hear someone shout my name, which is unusual because you don't think you're surrounded by anyone, you know, and I turn round and there is Greg Taylor in full Celtic tracksuit about 90 minutes before Celtic play Aberdeen. So he's had to leave the stadium and rush over because his lovely lady was expecting a baby as well, and I thought that's just so weird how that all sort of happened at the one time. And then Brendan Rodgers he went on TV, didn't he, that night, and said, well, listen, Greg's not available tonight because he's away. So I can confirm that was absolutely because we were in the same lift going up to the
brilliant.
What did Greg Taylor have?
Oh, he was a bit behind the process, so I don't think he's announced that yet.
He had a girl anyway.
So,
are you sure about that?
I know, but I read it this morning because Brendan Rodgers said that it was on the occasion of Brendan Rodgers, or his daughter, having her 29th birthday on the same day as the Taylor baby was born.
Well, it's you young boys now,
all happening.
Exactly.
It's just such a stressful time now, isn't it?
Yeah, you're
a 35-year-old dad. That's old.
2 family allowances. You'll be a few quid. you'll be buying dinner.
It'll be all that golf range.
Exactly, new clubs.
And the golf shop.
I can assure you that's one place I won't be going anytime soon.
Your life's done.
I get the impression.
For a few years.
But do you know what reminded me of that? Is it the Roy Keane clip?
Aye.
Is it? Well, he's not having the baby, is he?
Baby.
When Greg Taylor rushes away.
It's a bit insensitive that for
He's
Roy,
a family
wasn't
man.
it?
But I actually met him again the next day as well. It was like just kept passing ships sort of thing. I was going to pick up the car seat. You know, nowadays you're not allowed out unless you take a picture of you
That's
walking
right,
with
walking away.
I was going
to the car seat.
Is that true?
It's
just a trend
everyone
now.
does it on social media, so I was
I
joking
hate it.
by saying you're not allowed out. So you thought you're actually not allowed out.
Exactly.
Well,
right, where is it? I can't see it.
Brilliant. Anyway, he's on the bench, Roger Hanna, that's right. I heard your team news, I'm sure I remembered it correctly.
Yeah, I'll just give you the teams again. One change each from the midweek. Gordon will go through St Mirren first. Zach Hemming in goal. The back three, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor. Midfield, Ryan Albioso, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyd Munns, Mark O'Hara and Declan John. And the front pair, Toyosi Olusanya recalled to the starting lineup alongside Michael Mandron. On the bench are Minsky, Womono and Tanzer, Kenny, Idowu and Kilty, Smith, Oseni and Scott. One change for Celtic as well. They go Casper Schmeichel in goal. Back four, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter, Vickers, Austin Trusty and Jeffrey Sloop. Midfield, Arnie Engels, Callum McGregor and Rio Hattati. And up top, Nicholas Kuhn, Adam Ida and 25 goal Dies in Maeda. On the bench, Sinny Salo, Ralston and Taylor, Scales, Bonner and McCowan, Yang, Jota and Kenny. The ref is Matthew McDermott. The VAR is Andrew Dallas. And I'm delighted to say the sun is still shining here, Gordon.
Yeah, looking forward to that one, Roger. I do wonder if the sort of the toing and froing that we do with the Glasgow sides, and when one plays first, if they're on the brink of another, poor result or whatever, is this more about sort of I don't know, bragging rights and about the Barry Ferguson thing, rather than any material impact on the title race, because the gap's already so big?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that could happen today would have any material impact on the title race. Celtic have got it all wrapped up. Bigger games for Celtic to come, of course. A Scottish Cup quarter-final at home to Hibs in 8 days' time. And then, as you boys were talking about earlier on, Barry Ferguson taking Rangers to Celtic Park in a couple of weeks' time. They are bigger games, but Celtic, they won't want to lose here, but they're in a wonderful position where they could afford to lose here and it would have no impact at all. They are heading for another league title.
Motherwell making another change, and this is a real insight, I think, because you're talking about being 2-1 up at Ibrox, and what do you do with your subs, and then when do you sit in, and all that sort of stuff. Lennon Miller's coming off, and Tony Watt is going on for Motherwell, so it's not an ultra defensive approach for Michael Wimmer, and a change similar actually in terms of position wise. Diomande off, Danilo on for Rangers.
Michael Wimmer, if the change takes place and the score is at the end of the game still Motherwell 2, Rangers 1, Michael Wimmer is a genius. If Tony Watt coming on happens before Rangers make it 2-2 and then 3-2 in their favour, Michael Wimmer is foolhardy. So we applaud him, but it's his reputation at stake.
I'm liking it.
I think we oversimplify things. They might lose anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like is it as automatic as that? If Motherwell don't get a result, it doesn't mean it's the wrong change. Because you said already you didn't know what the changes were, and you said when Rangers scored that they would go on and win.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be the substitution's fault then.
Well, fans tend to see things in compartments, and they will say, why did you take Miller off? Why introduce Tony Watt at that stage when you should be not defensively minded, but defensively conscious of what's going on?
Well, you're bringing on fresh legs and you need to go up the park, Hugh. And Gordon's right, it doesn't matter you're at Ibrox. You could bring on 2 defenders, go to a back 5, sit deep, and Rangers will break you down. You've got to have out balls. Trying to, and this is the way this manager's thinking. I like that. Even if he loses this game today, and they're doing very well, I like that positivity. But it's a belief in your players to say, do you know what, we're at Ibrox, we're 1-2-1, come on you go.
There is still plenty of time left, and Rangers could of course go on to win it. Would you be looking for more of a sign that it was heading in that direction by now if you were Barry Ferguson?
Without question. And I'm thinking back to the calls that we took on a regular basis here when Stuart Kettlewell was Motherwell manager, that basically Stuart Kettlewell's football bored the Motherwell supporters. Well, this man Michael Wimmer has come in, and this is an entirely different animal altogether here. This is a Motherwell team that are moving the ball about very attractively.
Yeah, Mark, we've seen 75 minutes of this, so it's a good sample. Again, even if Rangers go on to get something, and if they don't, it'll all be about how bad Rangers are. But Motherwell have played really, really well today.
If I was a Motherwell fan, I'd be really happy at the early signs from Wimmer, especially here where it takes real bravery to go and play and not rush things. How many times have we seen teams go to Ibrox and take the lead and be in the lead? However, it's just at the feet and play it long, and it'll come right back at you. They're actually keeping the ball comfortably. Nice little patterns in there. So if I'm a Motherwell fan, I'm thinking there's good things to come.
As you as a person now in the hot seat making a lot of big changes, would you have made that sub?
Tony Watt on?
Yeah. Would you have brought a forward
on?
Yeah.
Possibly. But it's not just about an
this
out ball.
Guy's groaning.
You're groaning. It's about how you stop Rangers getting it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Tony might be able to go and just affect that with his experience.
Also, there's more to it. We break it into attackers versus defenders, but he might just feel that it's somebody that could maybe look after the ball a bit more. He might also feel that he's not got I mean, there are no other midfielders on the bench either. So if you think Lennon Miller's race is run, you either bring Ewan Wilson on, who is a left back but has played in midfield, or it is somebody else out of position anyway. So
there's no guarantee, especially when you're away from home at Ibrox and it's all the pressure's on Rangers. They're throwing everything at you. You've got to make big decisions. That's a big decision. And listen, if it works for him, brilliant, well done. But there's no guarantees.
Real anger, frustration in the stands at Ibrox. It's like Danilo and Dessers, the quick passing exchange at the edge of the box, but Danilo then tries another pass instead of shooting. They lose the ball. Barry Ferguson turns round, throws his arms in the air, and not going to plan.
Well, the Rangers fans know the importance of the result today. They know, Celtic playing later. They don't want to be going to Celtic Park 16 points behind Celtic and possibly coming away 19 points behind Celtic, so they want 2 goals in quick succession.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We said it at both those other games, any goal that goes in is going to be a big one, and there's been one in Dingwall which has gone again to the hosts. Ross County 2, Kilmarnock 0. It's Noah Kennett, he's only 3 or 4 yards out. It's another poor goal for Kilmarnock to concede, and that is a huge result in the making.
Yeah, they're goners, aren't they? I mean, well, in terms of today's game, Kilmarnock have gone, so they now have a relegation fight on their hands. They're right there in the mix.
Yeah, I think Kilmarnock are in real trouble. I really do. But the Staggies, once again, as I say, you do not know what you're going to get. Great result. It looks like they're going to get over the line.
Rangers have the ball in the net, but the flag has gone up. Now, that was the same story with the Motherwell goal in the first half, and that stood. But let's have a look and see if we get any further update on this one.
Well, that could be a good big goal, Hugh, if it stands.
Monumental. So Barry Ferguson will be crossing his fingers.
There is a check on the Ross County goal as well, so let's keep an eye.
VAR's not good for us in here. You know what I mean? We've said our speech. We'll need to change it if Ross County don't get that goal.
Okay, let's take a look. And to be fair, and we don't really want to discuss VAR when we don't need to, because we said it last night, Hugh, sometimes you do think about all the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Motherwell don't take a 1-0 lead if it's not for VAR.
Yeah.
Linesman had his flag up. You know, there are times when we need no goal in Dingwall, so that's one off. So that's a huge relief to Derek McInnes' side, but he does now still have work to do. What about Ibrox though? It's Danilo's touch, I think. It's initial through ball from Yilmaz, touched by Danilo, and then lobbed over the goalkeeper by Cyril Dessers. The length of time, it's no goal at Ibrox. Rangers 1, Motherwell 2. It remains.
What was it giving for Gordon offside?
Yeah, offside. It's this touch from Danilo. They're just trying to establish if it does touch him. I think it skiffs his leg on the way down, goes through to Cyril Dessers.
Oh, Danilo was offside. Big blow for Rangers.
No, Dessers was offside, I think.
Oh, was he?
Anyway,
big break.
Yeah, massive break for Motherwell.
Yep,
absolutely massive for Motherwell.
When it happened to Celtic at the Easter Road last Saturday, it deflated Celtic. Instead of getting to 2-2, they remained at 2-1, and it deflated Celtic for the remainder of the game. We'll see what effect this decision has on Rangers for the remainder of this game, because we are into the last 10 minutes of regulation time. I suspect there'll be 7 or 8 minutes added on after that.
Yeah,
so it's a long way to go yet.
Give us your teaser, sorry, Hugh.
I have played with John Eustace and Mikel Arteta. I have been managed by Dick Campbell and Willie Miller. I started my career at an English club, but I played the rest of my career in Scotland. Who am I?
It is a good question. Some good answers coming in as well. Many of you are getting it right. Not everybody, though. Who else have we got? Here's one in. Davey says, is it Darren Jackson?
No,
it would be no. But I think a lot of you getting close, or certainly have it. So I think Gordon Dalziel, you've got it as well, don't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah, I hate getting it because everybody just says a cheat. I've occasionally been down that road, but just now I've changed character.
He's on the straight and narrow now.
Yeah.
Rubbing shoulders with him in the gym early morning.
Some physique.
Oh, you're looking good.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
you were good in the
I always say that because you bought me a coffee. It's the first time he's bought me a coffee.
Here's the coffees. Oh, well, last one, let me tell you that.
Anyway, we are into the closing stages. It's 82-83 gone at Ibrox. Rangers 1, Motherwell 2. So it's going to take a big turnaround now, Hugh.
Yeah, pressure all on Rangers. Immense pressure. They know the circumstances. Barry Ferguson can't lose his first game at Ibrox without there being complaints. At 5 o'clock we'll take the temperature check of the Rangers supporters, because they must have a view. People always have a view, and 2 games, you would always say small sample size, but for Rangers supporters they will have a major view if Rangers lose the match, even if they draw the match, because it's points lost. But
I think it's always the type of fixture as well, isn't it? It's, you know, a home game against Motherwell just should be much easier than, you know, if you go to Tynecastle or whatever and can't get a result, then fair enough. Corner Rangers a couple of moments ago, and before it was taken, Sterling came on to replace Yilmaz, so a welcomed return for him.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about him, to be honest with you. Yeah, a good player to have. He can play in 1 or 2 positions, and Rangers are going to need that, especially with big important games coming up this month. So it'll be interesting to get back in the game. I take it you've given up in the 3-2 prediction, Hugh. You've thrown that in the bin.
No, not yet.
Are you still staying with that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you change your mind right now if you want. No, staying with 3-2.
Looks to be Dujon, Sterling at centre back, and James Tavernier
right back
to right back,
trying to get his delivery further up the pitch, I guess. So not a bad tactic to employ, but Rangers need the ball at the top end of the pitch to do that.
Yeah, Dujon Sterling last played in that game at Easter Road, remember it, the 3-3 draw, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but he's missed a lot of football since then. I mean, that was at the start of January, wasn't it? But I think he's missed about a dozen games. Will come thick and fast.
Yeah, he's a big player for him in the sense that, I'm not saying he starts every week, but he gives them options in different positions, which is crucial just now with a lot of games coming up to the end of the season.
It's been a problem for Rangers as well, that centre back position. You know, just injuries, unsettled, chopping, changing. That just unsettles your side.
It's incredible. See, after Wednesday night we heard the Rangers supporters talk about, you know, the passion, the desire. We've not seen that under Clement. Damn squib today, innit?
Yeah.
If they get beat 2-1 with Motherwell at home, is it any better than any worse than getting beat with St Mirren at home?
Corner Rangers, Danilo forced a low save at the near post from Ellery Balcombe. What can Rangers do from the set piece? It's headed off the line, and then Tavernier volleys over the bar.
Motherwell are certainly living dangerously. They had VAR to thank for ruling out Cyril Dessers, what he thought was an equalising goal, and now headed off the line. And it's a bit like Partick Thistle last night.
Under siege.
Yeah.
Is that referee got your stopwatch? We're nearly into Sunday.
Do you know what? I was just looking at that because Dave Galloway was telling us we're now into 4 additional minutes in Dingwall, and we're nowhere near done at Ibrox. It was a really, really late one, this, and we've got kick-off.
This won't finish before 5 o'clock.
Oh, nowhere near it. But we'll be kick-off coming up at Paisley as well in the not too distant future, so we'll give that a big build-up. Always a weird one when we've got an evening kick-off, but basically once these 3 o'clock games finish, you can have your say on the open line. 01419511025. Get your calls in. I suspect if this doesn't change, the Rangers fans will be on. We're only in the 87th minute at Ibrox. There's a full-time result. Ayr 4, Airdrie 1.
Great result for Ayr. And as Falkirk, the last time I looked, they were losing 2-1. Are they get beat?
No, they were getting beat, sorry. I don't know if that's a full-time result.
You just wonder, we witnessed against St Mirren when Rangers were getting beat, the stadium emptied. You wonder because Barry Ferguson's in charge, if it's the same or they're all staying there to obviously show the support.
Well, it's certainly not like last Sunday, Saturday. By the time the full-time whistle went, with 9 minutes added on last Saturday, virtually an empty stadium.
Yeah.
But that was Clement. I still believe that the majority of Rangers fans will give Barry Ferguson the benefit of the doubt and think, well, it happened against Kilmarnock, it can happen again, and the Motherwell goal is under siege. So some will go.
This group of players, though, have obviously got an issue playing at Ibrox and handling the pressure. It's got to be. You have 3 games like Queen's Park, St Mirren and Motherwell in a short space of time, and if this stays the same, you lose them all. That's a mentality thing with the players. You can bring in different managers, different styles. If you're at a club like Rangers, I'm sorry, you can change all your tactics and different things. It comes down to players sometimes as well, having real character and bravery in the ball. And I wonder if Rangers have had that. It's okay having the manager with the passion and the career that he's had behind you, associated with the club. There's only so much he can do and his coaching team can do. Once you cross the white line, it's this group of players that keep failing time and time again.
We are nearly done. We are full time at Dens Park. Gabriel?
Yeah, Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1, Gordon. A nervy game here between the two teams at the bottom of the table. The 2 goals came within 3 minutes of each other at the end of the first half. Mackenzie Kirk opening the scoring before Simon Murray turned in an equaliser. The game started evenly, clearly so much on the line between these two, but after 10 minutes it became clear who were the form side playing with confidence. Yeah, Simo Valakari's Saints looked more dangerous with their fast breaks, the front 3 looked sharp, and the opening goal came from the right hand side. Sam Curtis putting the ball right on Kirk's head and a lovely header over the goalkeeper into the far top corner, and it looked like a huge goal in the fight for survival, taking the initiative into the interval. But no, a long throw gave Dundee a lifeline. The ball came in from the left, and there was Murray as ever to turn it home from close range. In the second half, the Saints looked more likely at the start. There were groans coming from the home crowd here at Dens, but the Saints couldn't get clear shots off. A lot of Adima Sidibe's efforts just blocked before they could reach the goal. Dundee did have a late flurry, and Murray's indirect free kick was blocked. Aaron Donnelly's effort from a corner was saved. Donnelly was really dangerous from set pieces all day. And then a few late chances to win the game fell to Tony Docherty's side. Substitute Scott Tiffany cut in from the left, cut across his shot as well, but he smacked the inside of the post, the ball flew out. And then just at the death there, Lyle Cameron had a volley from the edge of the box and it was tipped over. So St Johnstone managed to hang on, and that was that. Given both teams could have lost the game, they'd probably settle for a point. They know they're set to battle it out right up until the end of the season. We remain as we were before the game. Dundee in 11th, St Johnstone in 12th. Full time at Dens Park. Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1.
A nervy game there. A late equaliser for Falkirk. Hamilton 2, Falkirk 2. That could be a big goal come the end of the season. It's finished in Dingwall. We'll go there in a second. 4 additional minutes at Ibrox, Hugh.
Well, Motherwell have been terrific second half. They've had their bad moment, lost a goal, but they have been terrific. It has been a performance of outstanding maturity, and it bodes well for the Michael Wimmer era. Now they have to hang on.
Let's go to Dave Galloway. It's finished there.
Yeah, Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0. County putting bodies on the line, some really heroic defending to get what could be a big victory. Killy were at it from the start of this match, enjoying plenty possession as they went on the attack, but the final ball was lacking. Lyons' overhead kick flew over. Dees had a shot charged down, and it took a good double save from Amisa to keep the visitors out, twice parrying shots from Watkins after a long ball upfield sent him through on goal. County started to see some more of the ball, but without seriously threatening. However, they took the lead after 35 minutes. Phillips finishing high into the net from very close range after finding White, whose shot went under O'Hara. Phillips was there to make sure. That made the hosts look a bit more menacing as the visitors were made to regret not cashing in on their dominant start. Into the second half, and County keeper Amisa made another good double save to parry Lyons' driven ball and then turn the ball behind from Murray's effort on the follow-up. Kilmarnock made a triple substitution, and Armstrong was only just on the field, hit a stinging drive from the edge of the box that Amisa again did well to keep out. Wales then saw his driven ball deflected just wide. Kennett seemed to have slid home Ross County's second goal on 83 minutes after more poor defending from Kilmarnock, but after checking his VAR screen, ref David Dickinson chalked it off for a foul. Kelly kept at it right till the very end. The ball was swept into the box, but Anderson couldn't hit the target from about 6 yards out. Somehow Ross County managed to hold this one out. This could be a vital victory for them. Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Big result for both you.
Yeah, it puts Kilmarnock on. Well, they stay on 31 points, but Ross County go on to 35. So 4-point difference. If Motherwell can hold on, they go on to 37 points. So they're starting to move away from Kilmarnock, Dundee, and St Johnstone. It's a 3-way fight to stay in the division.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's worrying times at Rugby Park. I think Dale's starting to come under a little bit of pressure from the fans. Right down there. I'm amazed with Kilmarnock this season. I look at their squad, I look everything about them, the manager as well. You're thinking, I had them up easily in the top 6. It's just not happened for them. For the beginning,
since the start of European football and everything that followed after that, it's been a disastrous season for them so far.
It does feel like a good squad, doesn't it? Every time
I see a good squad,
the team, I look at you always look at the subs, don't you?
The bench.
For the depth, you've got the outstanding, or one of the outstanding young players in the country last season, and David Watson, doesn't always start games because they've got other options there. It's really struggling now.
Underperforming, that's what you've got to say. And Dale's got to take a bit of responsibility for that. He knows that. He knows the demands. Look, right now they are in deep trouble, but they've got to find a way. And look, we've seen this before. If you win 2 or 3 games, all of a sudden everything's rosy in the garden. You're right up that league, the pressure's off. They need to start trying to win games.
I'd fancy Kilmarnock to survive more than I do Dundee at this moment.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Again, just what you said, the squad. I think the depth of the squad and the experience within that squad will be enough.
Full time at Ibrox, Andrew.
Yeah, a few short, sharp boos from the supporters who are now making their way to the exit because it's Rangers 1, Motherwell 2, the full-time score, a defeat in Barry Ferguson's Ibrox homecoming. They gave their opponents a 2-goal head start for the second game running, but couldn't find the right response this time against an impressive Motherwell team who will be absolutely delighted with their showing at Ibrox today. A really bad first half from the hosts where they just couldn't hold on to the ball, they were making the wrong decisions, not creating anything, and looked really poor defensively. Motherwell looked good and managed to take advantage of it. Rangers architects of their own downfall for the first 10 minutes in. Jack Butland rolling the ball out to Cyril Dessers. He took a poor touch. Motherwell won the ball back. It was played quickly forward to Dan Casey at the edge of the box. He took a shot, looked as if it was going to go safely into the arms of Jack Butland, but somehow managed to spill it off to his left, and there was Luke Armstrong, quickest off the mark to put it into the back of the net. The flag went up, the whistle went. It was initially ruled out for offside, but VAR showing that Dan Casey was onside in the build-up, and it went 1-0 to Motherwell. Rangers continued to be slack as that half went on. James Tavernier giving the ball away to Lennon Miller. That ball was then worked over to the right-hand side. Tom Sparrow had so much space because the Rangers defence had pushed over to the left-hand side. That allowed him to set himself and fire into the bottom corner for 2-0. 3 changes at the break from Barry Ferguson. Balogun, Barami and Lawrence all on. It's not as if they took control of the game at that point at all, but they did look marginally better. Motherwell still threatening at times, but Rangers got that goal that they hoped would spark a comeback. Ridvan Yilmaz flicking the ball round the corner. Motherwell didn't deal with it as it bounced its way into the box, and Cyril Dessers was alert to slide in and get the goal back, but it didn't spark a comeback at all. Motherwell continued to play well. Michael Wimmer was making positive changes to try and keep Rangers at bay. Rangers did push. Dessers had the ball in the back of the net after he lobbed Ellery Balcom, but he was offside from Danilo's touch. They also had one cleared off the line, but ultimately just couldn't do enough at Ibrox. A third loss here on the spin, a first defeat for Barry Ferguson and his staff. The full-time score, Rangers 1, Motherwell 2.
What a game at Ibrox and what a result. Rangers fans, what do you make of that? 0141 951 1025. Another home defeat. Queen's Park, St Mirren, they did for Philippe Clement. In comes Barry Ferguson, and it doesn't make any difference. Defeat against Motherwell. Give us your thoughts, please. 0141 951 1025. Give us a call right now. Let us know how you thought today went, and we will take your calls and build up to kick off in Paisley next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. 01419511025. Give us a call. Ibrox, again a defeat at home. Rangers fans, it felt different in the build-up because Barry Ferguson's now in charge. But what did you make of this one? Have things improved? You saw character in the second half at Rugby Park during the week, but it is yet another defeat. What it also means is it's a chance for Celtic to stretch their lead to 16 points. They will kick off in 25 minutes time in Paisley against St Mirren. So give us a call right now. Joe is on the line. Joe, how bad was today?
Absolutely shocking. We left in the 75th minute, which seems to become a common theme these days. We're normally one of the last ones out in the Broomloan rear, but absolutely shocking performance. A group of players and who, in my opinion, are just playing to the end of the season so they can all go their separate ways and get on with it. I don't blame Barry Ferguson or his coaching staff, because I was on during the week and I said they could have brought in Guardiola, Conte and Mourinho to manage that team and you would get nothing out of them. Lacklustre, pathetic, just an absolutely shocking performance. Jack Butland, who last season was probably one of, if not the best player for us since November, December, he's having an absolute shocker. He looks nervous, he looks as if he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know if that's just a symptom of the team in general, that it's obviously got its way back to him. Big Balogun came on at half time. I thought Balogun played really well for the period of time that he was on the park, but the rest of them, just a complete waste of space, and the fans, talking to fans on the ground, guys who sit next to me, sit round about us, everybody's saying the same thing. I'm actually in two minds now whether I'm even going to go back for the rest of the season. They've had my money, they've got the money, which is all they seem to be interested in, but just an absolutely shocking, lacklustre, pathetic performance. None of them fit to wear the Rangers jersey. Barry Ferguson, Rangers legend, and will always be a Rangers legend, but I think he's bit off more than he can chew here.
The only thing I will say, it's a different phone call from Wednesday after a game, wasn't it? Barry made the change. Barry brought the desire, the heart. Rangers would never have come back under Clement. Barry this and Barry that. I agree, right? I look at this Rangers team and they don't fill me with confidence character-wise, especially at Ibrox, especially when they're 49,000 plus there demanding what Rangers demand as a football player. They've not got it in their locker. So as much as you can say, look, I feel for the fans, because Rangers board have got a lot to answer for me, right? They brought in Barry, put him out there to close that gap. This phone call, if Clement had stayed in charge, would be the exact same. There'd have been 20,000 at Ibrox this afternoon. They turned up their droves because of Wednesday night and Saturday. Look, it's papering over the cracks. They need to get to the end of the season, and then they need to address what they're doing as a football club to go forward, because the decisions that they're making from top to bottom ain't good enough.
The most important decision is whether or not the takeover takes place, because if it doesn't, Rangers are in deep, deep trouble, because there's no money in the club. It needs a complete overhaul on the park. Barry Ferguson's position as manager is now got a question mark against it. I've said that one win over Kilmarnock wasn't enough to guarantee him the job. One home defeat isn't enough to guarantee he doesn't get the job, but it is a watershed moment. It was, and we have the caller's word for it, an awful display yet again, and the takeover has got to take place. But what are the 49ers Enterprises getting for their money? They're getting a shell of a club, and they will need to put a lot of money into it if they are to resemble challengers to Celtic.
Is this not part of the unforgiving nature of management though, Joe? Because you said, I'm not blaming Barry Ferguson, but if Barry Ferguson got any credit for the result on Wednesday night, then he needs some criticism for this. Is that not just, and I know it sounds unfair because you're kind of right, like how much can he really influence that today if Jack Butland drops the ball or whatever? But people gave him credit for influencing it in a positive sense on Wednesday, so surely we can't have it both ways.
No, absolutely, I totally agree with you. On Wednesday, I totally agree that what Barry Ferguson did, taking off in Salah and putting on putting Tavernier into centre half and putting Ridvan at right back, that was a decision that I don't believe Philip Clement would have made. I don't believe Clement would have done that. And as you say, credit where credit's due, but criticism also where criticism's due. Now, Barry Ferguson, I came on last Monday or Tuesday and I said that the board appointing Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, bringing in legends, was basically trying to, I mean, Gordon used the phrase papering over the cracks. It's no cracks, it's craters. Craters, massive, massive craters. It's no longer cracks. This is the board trying to take away from the bad decisions that they've made, going back to Clement in the summer, extending his contract, which no doubt came with a pay rise, all the rest of it. They took the heat off themselves by sacking Clement, hiding away from it, and then saying, oh, by the way, we're bringing in Barry Ferguson, Billy Dodds, Neil McCann and Alan McGregor. So the fans are kind of thinking, all right, okay, then here we go. The paper, it's not cracks anymore, it's craters. And as you just said, we are a shell of a club from top to bottom, an absolute shambolic club from top to bottom, and it can't continue. Now, I was going through my old emails the other day, and the season ticket renewals last year came out on the 29th of March. That was the email that was sent. Now, if the same email drops in my inbox for my 3 tickets on the 29th, 30th of March this year, I have a massive, massive decision to make, because I'm constantly, like thousands and thousands of other fans, ploughing our hard-earned money into the club, buying 4 tops. I've got 2 sons, so I buy 4 tops at a time. The home, the away, the one they wear every blue moon, and the third one, the training kit, all the rest of it. It's thousands of pounds, like many, many other fans are doing. The MyJair subscriptions and all the rest of it. We are an absolute shambles of a club. And bringing in Barry Ferguson, criticism for today, yes, but I don't blame Barry Ferguson for taking the job. If they'd phoned me and offered me, I would have took it, knowing fine well that I couldn't get a tune out of the players. The players are not good enough to play for Glasgow Rangers. None of them are. None of them are. Even, I mean, Jack Butland maybe would get a pass, but he's been a bit of a calamity for the last 2 or 3 months. It's a shambles, shambolic club, and I'm sick of it, and I'm embarrassed.
Listen, you can't knock Joe because the emotion is there for everyone to see.
Do you know the one thing, and Joe, he got across every ounce of emotion there, and he's speaking, I think, on behalf of the vast majority of Rangers supporters. And I did say that they are a shell of a club. But when Joe and others criticise the board are trying very hard not to be the board. They're trying to sell out to 49ers Enterprises, and there is the way forward for Rangers. And that's why I say, if it fails to materialise, there's terrible trouble, because Rangers need the money to carry out this radical overhaul of the team on the park, decide who is to be the manager, and forge a way forward so that Joe and others on the 29th or thereabouts of March do renew their season tickets. The fans need to know by the 29th of March or thereabouts if the takeover is going through, because they'll be left in 2 minds whether to buy a season ticket or not.
Mark, do you understand Joe's frustration, particularly at the players today?
Yeah, I do. It's hard to come up with a solution, even standing here when we're in this studio, because, you know, for weeks and weeks you say the manager, and that's where the criticism is aimed. And Philippe, come on, he's on borrowed time. Then eventually he gets the sack and you get someone else in. It's a bit of an uplift, and then it's failure again. So you point the finger at the players, and round you go. But Hugh is right, the full club, it needs root and branch revamp in the summer. And the only way I can see that being done is with a takeover. That must be the only light at the end of this dark tunnel for Rangers fans this season, that something good might come in June. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a load of what we've seen from now till then. Ups and downs. There'll be some good performances and there'll be some horror shows.
Thank you very much to Joe, who laid it all out there, how frustrated he is, how angry at the way things are, and capped off with that 2-1 home defeat against Motherwell today. What about Fraser? How bad was it from your perspective, Fraser?
How you doing, guys? Nice to speak to you.
And you.
Right, hey, Mike, for the game, my brother there. Paid £72 last minute for a couple of tickets. Watched that, exact same as Clermont. Does not matter who's sitting in that manager's seat, the players are still the same. It's the same mentality, the same side to side backing for it. It's just not good enough.
And is that, talk me through like the decision to go get the tickets last minute, is that because you were excited Barry Ferguson was in charge and all that sort of stuff, and then it's kind of fallen apart?
Yep, the last kind of game was kind of Clermont, and then obviously we kind of Barry ball goes back in there. We jumped in, went up the day, place was back, great, and then just the same stuff. It doesn't matter who's sitting in the top seat, the same players doing the same stuff, game after game, doesn't matter, and these are clear out. Simple as.
Yeah, Gordon, it wasn't that different, really. That's the thing, was it? No. In any way, just to indulge me on a personal basis for a minute, when Motherwell will go there many times, you're kind of you might have to survive a proper onslaught, and it just never really felt that way.
No, look, at the end of the day, the board were quite clever in what they'd done. They said they weren't going to get rid of Clermont because of Europa League. They eventually had to give in to fan power because the fans were leaving their droves. They turned off. There was nobody come back to Ibrox. They parade Barry like a trophy and set him out there to plug that gap. And Barry Ferguson, quite rightly, is what he's got in his locker and the fact of passion, standards, everything as a player. He's come out in his interviews, which I think he's handled brilliantly. He spoke about the passion, he spoke about the desire, playing for a jersey, what Rangers is a football club. Unfortunately for Barry Ferguson, he's not got the tools to do it. Now, on Wednesday night, he's 2-0 down after a passionate team talk before they come out the tunnel. He makes a substitution, he gets all the pats in the back, the right substitutions. Rangers fans are over the moon with it. Today, same at half time, 2-0 down, throws 3 players on, rightly so. I'm not criticising Barry Ferguson here, but you're throwing darts at a dartboard hoping you're going to land a treble. That's what you're trying to do. Listen, Barry Ferguson as a Rangers legend can stand there with the passion oozing out of him. It ain't going to matter to these players. The players show at Ibrox, especially in the last 3 weeks, they've not got the character to go out there and produce the goods for Rangers supporters.
Do you think maybe with hindsight, Fraser, and I appreciate that it's easy to say with hindsight, but maybe some of the praise and some of the hype after the comeback in midweek, maybe that was over the top?
Well, it was inspiring second half against Kilmarnock, definitely. Just look at the goals, look at the pressure, look at the way they turned around, pressed it on. Do you expect that again today? There was nothing. The only Barry Ferguson effect today was standing on at the dugout. That was it. Nothing else. That was it. Absolute, nothing there at all. Boring.
Okay, I mean, Mark, to be fair, this is why I didn't really love the conversation before, because it felt early, but that's why I said all I'm asking, 2:30 or whatever it was, is it possible that he becomes the Rangers manager full time? Because today sums up why it's ridiculous, because you can't go, oh, that's a great comeback against Rangers, against Kilmarnock, maybe this guy's the next Rangers manager. Oh, that was a disaster against Motherwell, he can never be the next Rangers manager. We can't keep doing this every week from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, you know what, I'm looking at a guy on screen here just now, Neil Lennon, and the parallels, he got the Celtic job. It's quite remarkable how similar they are. When Neil got given it after Tony Mowbray, after that St Mirren defeat, Celtic were at rock bottom. He came in, he won his first game, but I'm pretty sure shortly after he loses against Ross County, one of the worst results that Celtic could have had at Hampden. Go out in the semi-final and people are saying Neil can't get the job. He then wins every other game, and who gets the job in the summer? And he turned that group of players around, just belief, playing forward quicker. He rooted out the problems, by the way, in terms of the players that were underperforming and didn't get what the club was about at that stage, and he started to build for seasons ahead. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Barry Ferguson, but you can see your question, is it possible? Well, it's happened before, the other side of the city, so he's got to make the best use of his time from now to then, and that's results, of course.
This is a tremendous blow for him, though. Tremendous. It was at home. There was no carry on from what happened at Kilmarnock, and now he faces, in his next league game, Celtic away, and he has 2 European ties against Jose Mourinho before he gets to that, and he has to be judged at the end of the season. Well, therefore you have to take his whole body of work, and today is an an awful watershed moment for him.
Thank you, Fraser. What about Craig on the other line? Craig, how would you sum up how you're feeling about it all now?
Now, obviously, Gordon, I was on last night, and I was saying to Hugh, I was buzzing for the game, but deflated, mainly deflated at Barry's formation, if I'm honest. Sorry, I'm actually swapping back to my sports bus. It's leaving at like 5:30, so I say to your producer, maybe that's why I got a wee bit quick, I don't know. But I think he should have went 4-3-3 because Barry hasn't got the players to play 4-4-2 and dominate, or 4-2-4, whatever you want to call it. We cannot dominate teams, and Motherwell overran Rangers all over the park today. Lennon Miller was dropping into that midfield, and he had already 3 in there, and Andy Halliday, and all the rest of the guys. And Rangers lost the midfield battle, and that's, obviously I was on last night. I said I'm a massive fan. I'm not losing faith in Barry, but I think he's got a wee bit swept up in the moment of this, attacking football he thinks Rangers fans want to see him playing 4-4-2 and 4-2-4 and this, that and the other. We haven't got the players to play that, and we need to start dominating the middle of the park and go from there. Because obviously he can't go 4-4-2 against Celtic in a couple of weeks, but he's got to adapt that for Fenerbahce on Thursday night, and it's a wee bit of a red flag for me. I know Mark was saying there about Neil Lennon coming in and, Ross County and this, that and the other. For me, Barry had to be flawless coming in and tactics, but it's kind of flabbergasting to me that you've got probably, arguably, the best Scottish produced midfield in the last 25 years. He's always played in that midfield three for Scotland and Rangers. Even under Walter, it was 4-4-2, but he had Kevin Thompson, Stephen Davis beside him. It was a kind of free, but it was a kind of, defensive free. And you win the game from middle of the park. That's what you're always taught. If you boss the midfield 9 times out of 10, you win the game. So I just don't get it. And for me, the other point is Tom Lawrence. If I never see that guy in a Rangers shirt again, I know he's leaving at the end of the season. Throw on Bailey Rice, throw on Finlay Curtis. There's nothing to be lost by putting those guys in. Tom Lawrence, you know what you get. You get a 6 out of 10. Bailey Rice is a young player like Barry Ferguson. Barry Ferguson, when he broke into the Rangers team under Walter Smith, if Dick Advocate hadn't came in, even in Barry's own words, he was gone that summer if Dick Advocate hadn't watched the tapes. So that's my point. Bailey Rice, I'm not saying he could be next Barry Ferguson, he's going to captain Rangers to European finals and this, that and the other, but play Bailey Rice in a midfield three between now and the end of the season and see what we've got and build from there.
I think you make some good points, Craig. Thank you very much. Hope you catch your bus. We better move on as well, because kick-off in Paisley, St Mirren against Celtic, is coming next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here on the day. Rangers returned to Ibrox with Barry Ferguson in charge and lost at home to Motherwell. There's been widespread anger on the phone lines. If you Motherwell fans want to give us some joy, because you were excellent, and you will know that it is always lost on days like this just how good you were and how big a part you played. But we've got another game. Let's go to Paisley and get another recap of what's going on there with Roger Hannah.
Yeah, and of course Gordon, Celtic now have the opportunity to move 16 points clear at the top of the Premiership table tonight after Rangers defeat the Motherwell Ibrox ahead of their next league game back at Celtic Park against Rangers in a fortnight's time. They've been buoyed by the fact they've got 2 3-0 wins over St Mirren already this season. They've won their last 7 meetings with Stephen Robinson's side and not lost here at the Smizer for 2.5 years. From St Mirren's point of view, if they could do an amazing double over the Old Firm in the space of 7 days, that would lift them back over Motherwell into the top 6 tonight. They make one change. Toyosi Olasanya, who scored at Ibrox last weekend, is in for Jonah Younger. That's the only alteration from the side beaten 3-1 by Hearts at Tynecastle on Wednesday night. So it's Zach Hemming in goal, Marcus Fraser, Alec Goldgate and Richard Taylor across the back. Ryan Alabioso, Killian Phillips, Kaelan Boyd Munch, the captain Mark O'Hara and Declan John in midfield, with a front two, Toyosi, Olusanya and Michael Mandron. On the bench are Minsky, Wamono and Sansa, Kenny, Adowu and Shelty, Smith, Hosseini and Scott. Celtic 2 make one change from the side that beats Aberdeen 5-1 convincingly at Parkhead and Tuesday night's a recall. Up top for Adamida at the expense of Jota, who drops to the bench. It was Casper Schmeichel in goal, the back four. Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter, Vickers, Austin Trusty and Jeffrey Schlupp. Midfield Arnie Engels, Callum McGregor and Rio Hitati. And up top, Nicholas Kuhn, Adamida and Dyson Maida. On the bench, Sinisalo, Ralston, Scales, Bonner, McCowan, Yang, Jota, Kenny and new dad Greg Taylor. The referee is Matthew McDermott. The VAR is Andrew Dallas. There will be a moment before kick-off to commemorate the life and career of Saints great Cammy Murray, who passed away recently at the age of 80. 417 games for the club, a record 131 consecutive appearances between 1964 and 67. A St Mirren Hall of Famer. This St Mirren side, they could almost get Hall of Fame territory if they could get back-to-back wins against the Oakham. 2-0 at Ibrox against Rangers last week. Olusanya and Mandron the scorers. They're paired again in attack today, but Celtic of course see this opportunity. Callum McGregor leading them out, Mark O'Hara leading St Mirren out as we speak. An opportunity for Celtic to go 16 points clear tonight with a third win against St Mirren this season.
What do you think the desire is like, Roger, or how much does it matter? I'm almost certain it matters to the fans greatly. They want to see that points gap grow and grow and grow. Do you think it is something that Brendan Rodgers can sort of use as a target? Once you realise you've possibly / probably won the league, you almost have to reassess. You have to keep pushing it so that complacency doesn't set in.
Yeah, and listen, I think Brendan Rodgers would take it as a personal affront, Gordon, if these players showed any signs of complacency. To their great credit, they haven't done so far. They weren't at their best Tuesday night against Aberdeen, and yet they still won for 5 goals to 1. There was a couple in there for Dyson Maida, taking it to 25 for the season. They will have their eyes on a domestic treble. They will want to win the league by as many points as possible. I know Hugh was painting the picture earlier on the show of a potential 19-point gap after the Old Firm game in a couple of weeks' time. Before that, they've got the business of Hibernian at Celtic Park a week tomorrow in the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup. They will want another domestic clean sweep this season. That's what motivates them. That's what drives them on.
Let me put this scenario to you, Roger Hannah. This is game 29 for Celtic. If they win it and go 16 points clear, then game 30 is against Rangers. If they go 19 points clear, it's almost a title winner that day.
Yeah, I would agree, Hugh. I mean, you're really looking at the league title being done before the split. It's not great for competition. It's a long time since we've seen a Premiership title race go down to the wire, which is disappointing. But the best team wins it, and Celtic again have been the best team. I think the teams now here, Hugh, they're just going round the centre circle, and there's going to be a minute's applause in memory, as we said, of St Mirren great Cammy Murray.
Yeah, and quite rightly too. That will go down. It'll be well respected, I'm sure, and mean a lot to the St Mirren fans and the family. Hugh, give us your prediction for this one. I'll take this one and only opportunity to thank you again for saying Rangers would go on. You said they would win comfortably before the game, and then when they pulled one back, you said Motherwell had no chance. So thank you for being so wrong.
And I thank you for giving me another prediction. I think Olusanya and Mandron will give Carter Vickers and Trusty a tough evening of it, but I think led by Callum McGregor in that huddle, Callum McGregor will be saying 16 points, let's go. St Mirren 1, Celtic 3.
Oh, I was going to go for the same, Hugh. Yeah, I agree.
Why not?
Oh yeah, you're quite entitled to do that. You'll not get it right, but I'm going to go comfortable this afternoon for Celtic 3-0.
Okay, keep the calls coming. The phone lines are very much open on 01419511025. Callers right now, let us know what you made of the game at Ibrox or anything else. I'd like to hear from you Motherwell fans and see how impressed you were with your team's performance under your new manager. Just as we get ready to go, Mark, in Paisley, it's a real strong Celtic team, if that's the right word. I mean, I know it could be strong anyway, but no real appetite for change for Brendan Rodgers, just one or two here or there.
No, about keeping the standards up. I think that's a good message to send across his squad, that you're in the team on merit. There is no time for sentimentality or playing people that don't deserve it from their week in training. This Celtic team is strong and they're looking to finish strongly, so I guess he is the man to drive the standards at the football club. He's done that since he's been there, and he'll continue to do that, even though they're streets ahead of Rangers in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not surprised that Brendan Rodgers putting out the strong side. He gives every other team respect. That's one thing you've got to say. Look, he's going to try and win this game quickly, use his substitutes. I think St Mirren will battle away. We've seen that at Ibrox when they got that result. They cost the Rangers manager their job. I just think it's too big an ask. I think with the fact that Rangers once again losing not gaining any points this afternoon, losing to Motherwell, great incentive. Let's get it done quickly. And I think Celtic will build for us.
Our first caller, Joe, tonight gave everyone an insight into the passion that fans have for their team. Joe was beside himself with anger because of Rangers' result. The Celtic fans...
What gave that away? Was it when he called it a shambolic shambles?
Yeah, that was just
my
about
favourite.
it, when he said that it wasn't cracks, it was craters. But the Celtic fans, whether they're in Paisley, watching on the telly, listening here, the Celtic fans badly want 16 points of a lead, and they badly want Rangers to go to Celtic Park a fortnight from now and for Rangers to go 19 points behind Celtic. That's the nature of the rivalry.
Here's a big question that you really have to try and analyse for us. Does Celtic usually get to wear the hoops when St Mirren are wearing their home kit?
Exactly, yeah.
It's usually a yellow one, isn't it?
And they're in for a chance, St Mirren here.
I feel like it's usually whatever Celtic's away kit is at the time, because they went there early in the season and they wore that sort of
green
camouflage one. Mark, when you went there, I can see you there in the yellow.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point you make.
Listen, I'm colourblind, so I'm not the best person to ask, but it's
a lot of white on show.
It's given me some issues.
Yeah.
It's not the most visually.
The referees would usually argue or be pedantic about the colour of socks and shorts, so they're certainly different, but there is a lot of white, of course, in the top half.
Big issues. Big issues. Roger Hanna says he likes it. Too much nonsense with the away kits. I disagree, Roger Hanna. Have some sympathy for those with bad eyesight. John is on the line. How are you, John?
I'm not bad, mate.
What are you making of your club today then?
Well, I phoned in there after the St Mirren game. I spoke to Hugh Keevins, and I think Gordon Dalziel was in there, and Hugh said it was rock bottom at Rangers. I seen that months ago, mate. See, to be honest, I seen the lowest of our players. See this hands up in the air, they try to string a pass, no communication. The last time I heard from a mate at the game, he says there were 12 different nationalities on the pitch at Ibrox. The communication factor is first of all. I don't think these players, I don't know what's happening. See, to be honest, they don't know what they're doing. It goes back to the goalkeeper, it's back to the old Rangers, Kilmarnock. Now, I watched Paul again era, that was pretty bad. But this is up here with the worst. And I want to ask you, Keevins, where do we go forward for here?
Well, the only way forward is to be taken over. As I said earlier, they are a shell of a club. They are on the road to nowhere at the moment. And the takeover has to go through, or Rangers Football Club are in terrible trouble, because they cannot, in their present form, finance a better future. They need 49ers Enterprises to take over the club, to bankroll an overhaul of the playing staff, to determine who is to be the manager, and today's a bad blow for Barry Ferguson. The takeover is the future. If the takeover doesn't take place, then, John, I'm very much afraid you're in for a serious time.
Listen, it's 2025. Loads of teams have multi-national lineups, and communication isn't an issue for them. So I don't think we can use that as an excuse, Mark. But where John would be bang on, that was not a good defensive performance by any stretch of the imagination.
No, quite alarming how you lose both of those goals, I think, if you're a Rangers fan, because the first one, clearly, individual errors, firstly from Dessers, second from Proper, by the way, when you look at the other angle, because he's so slow in coming out. He's actually behind the goalkeeper when he throws it out, and that is important, because when the ball ricochets, he is the one that's playing the Motherwell player onside, and then Butland, of course, spills it. The second goal, though, is so bad, because another catalogue of errors with Tavernier giving it away, but then the structure of the team and how narrow Jefty is quite unbelievable. It's such a simple pass to play to Sparrow for him to score. It's untrue. So there's so many issues within that defensive performance.
I think it's gone beyond dissecting players and formations. I think it's now at the stage of the club. As John said when it was St Mirren, I said rock bottom. Today I've said shell of a club. You're going round and round in circles looking for explanations of just how bad it is. They need the takeover or else.
However, Motherwell were very good. Let's hear from Michael Wimmer.
This was the match plan, to have a good balance between high pressing, also perhaps a little bit press a little bit lower, and the guys found the right balance, and also in possession. It was important to keep also a little bit in possession and not only long balls, because if you play only long balls, you have no time to relax a little bit, and so they did it really well. And also I was surprised, but it makes me proud that the second goal was like we spoke yesterday in the analyze, and so great. Yeah, at first this is a great stadium, and before the game I really looked forward to come here, and all the atmosphere is perfect, it's brilliant, but also our fans was brilliant, and that you can win here makes me proud, but it's not it's not my work, it's the work from the players on the pitch, and they worked like lions. They had a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, and they deserved the win, and I'm very proud of them.
Hugh is a Motherwell fan on the line. How good was that, Hugh?
Hey, how are you guys? All right?
Good, thank you.
What a difference. I mean, I've been on the show plenty of times before talking about our previous manager and how his tactics were all wrong, his prone setups. What a difference in the team. Absolute what a difference. High pressing between Miller and Slattery further on up the park, leaving Andrews in the middle of the park as well. We're going wide a lot of times now. We're not passing a lot of the ball going back the way. We seem to be going forward, and the players have really taken on what the manager and Ahmet's trying to bring in. It's just night and day. So I'm really pleased for that, really pleased for the players, because you could see it in their faces as well. They want to go and win. They want to win setting tackles and things like that. A few mistakes today, but again, we're going to get that. You're going to get that again, and we do tire. We tired on Wednesday night, we tired again today, but I don't have an issue with that, because we're bringing other players on who's maybe trying to catch up to speed. So honestly, what a difference. Everyone's a winner, as we always say.
I like it. I've seen Wimmer chicken dinner. I've seen also. I like it. I'm not against it at all. That's the thing, Gordon. I always say this. I actually understand it. Maybe I didn't used to when I was a fan, and I would think, why are Motherwell not getting more credit for this? Because it's all going to be about how bad Rangers have been. There's a supply and demand nature to that, which is fine. However, Motherwell were genuinely very good. Let nobody be fooled here. This is not all about Rangers' disaster. Motherwell played really well today.
Oh, without a shadow of doubt. You can't take that away from him. It's been a terrific 4 days for a manager. His first home win midweek, and then he follows it up by a terrific result at Ibrox, you've got to say, and a deserved one. They come under the cosh a little bit when it went 2-1. You'll all expect that at Rangers. I just like the freshness of this guy. He's getting it forward. He's getting forward. He's talking there about they just don't play long balls and try and go up the park and defend again. They tried to control the middle of the park. They played well in the middle of the park. I think he's got to be delighted with today's effort, commitment, obviously the result as well. And I like the way. I just think that over the next coming months you'll see him getting better. And I'm not having a go at Stuart Keltwell. I know that Hugh's on talking about tactics and all that. I think Stuart Keltwell done a really good job at Motherwell, so I'm not going to criticise him.
To be fair,
but it's a freshness.
That's now Motherwell back-to-back wins at Ibrox, because the previous manager did
it's a freshness, I think, and it's a freshness that the Motherwell fans have been looking forward to. They've been given that, and there was great signs there today at Ibrox, I've got to say that.
Hugh, how important could this be that a new manager gets a result and a performance like that so early on in his time here?
Oh, it's massive, because you can see what he's trying to implement, whereas you can maybe get some new managers coming in and they're not getting the style incorrectly straight away and things like that. Players aren't taking on board, but the players have taken it fully on board. Again, they've not had a lot of time on the training field with them, so to bring that in in the game is fantastic to see. The freshness is unbelievable. Now, whether we went and done what we done at Firth Park earlier on the season and drew 2 each and mulled out, we huffed and puffed, but we didn't. We kept on going, we kept on fighting, which was fantastic to see. Great freshness, and I've got a lot more enthusiasm now, a lot more.
Understandable. Fraser's on, he's not happy that he didn't get the credit for the Vimmer chicken dinner, so there you go, consider it done. Thanks to Hugh, who is a happy Motherwell fan, and understandably I've already had a message from a very happy captain of Motherwell today.
Oh, really?
Andy Halliday. He says they were unreal. He's very happy with his role in it, with the team's performance today.
Ask him about the cuddle.
Oh, with the manager.
Ask him about the cuddle with the manager.
Can I be captain next week?
Well, be on Monday, I like to think so. Very quickly before we take a breather, Mark, what's happening first 10 minutes at St Mirren?
Game's not really settled down, you know, to be honest. St Mirren and ball in the Celtic box a few times, but no really chances to report so far, so be interesting to see how it pans out. But St Mirren big and physical like you'd expect. Celtic, their normal sort of style, but nothing really happened.
Yeah, the highlights so far, Killian Phillips managing to keep the ball up
that was amazing.
On his thigh 4 times inside the Celtic box, which you don't see very often.
Lucky man to be on the park.
Yes, we're not.
He should have been sent off midweek, and he
think
got
that
away
still
with
should
it.
have been a red.
Oh, without any shadow of a doubt.
Interesting one, that. Anyway, we'll get the latest update from Paisley when we return.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Into the final part of today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard, reacting to a big result at Ibrox where Motherwell beat Rangers 2-1. It's a third consecutive home defeat. It's Queen's Park, St Mirren, Motherwell. What is that? 5 goals against them.
1-0 Queen's Park,
5 against
2-0 St Mirren.
5 against them, 1-4.
Yeah. It's a bad day for Barry Ferguson. There's no. I know that people are going on about individual players, formations, etc. But Barry Ferguson asked to be judged by the end of the season. Therefore, he had 11 games to be judged by. He's now won 1, lost 1. His next 2 games are against Jose Mourinho, Fenerbahce, and the one after that is Celtic Park and Brendan Rodgers. So
hopefully we'll hear from him before the end. It's going to be a race because he's in the chair now in the press conference, so I don't think he will get a tough time in the way that Philippe Clement was at the end, but nevertheless he's got some big questions to answer, so we will try and give you his answers. Now 15 minutes gone in Paisley. Mark, has anything changed? Have Celtic at least had a couple of more sniffs?
Yeah, they have. I think Maeda had a good chance, good play by Schlupp to cut it back to him. He puts it over, and just there, another good ball from Schlupp to the back post. Engels in there, always on the stretch, and just puts it over. So a couple openings for Celtic.
Schlupp been one of the bright sparks, Hugh, for Celtic so far.
Yeah, he brings a physicality. He also showed there that he can play a bit, and Dyson made the top man, 25 goals, snatched at it a bit, and it went over the bar. But St Mirren are well in this game as well. Trusty at the back has been given a torrid time of it, so it's anything but a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, it's a case of the first goal, and to be fair, it's always got to be difficult. St Mirren will make it difficult. I just think Celtic have got too much quality middle to front not to open them up. But as I say, St Mirren are always difficult, especially in their own patch. It's difficult at set plays as well. They've got some good height in there if they can get some good quality in, but Celtic just feeling their way into this game tonight.
Yeah, we mentioned before it's a very strong Celtic team, no real changes made. Adam Ida does come back in. Mark, could he be doing with a positive evening?
It's always the case when Ida comes in. That's always what's labelled at him. I think purely because Maeda's taking that central role and he's scoring goals almost every time he plays through the middle. So if you're the striker that's been brought in for £9 million and you see your main competition leaving the club, you're thinking, right, here I go, I'm getting my shot. Here comes another guy who takes a number 9 spot and scoring every week. So he's always under pressure. Of course, strikers thrive on goals. But, Ida's doing fine just now. He's playing his part in the team. He's playing his role in the team. He will get goals. You know, he went through that barren spell. Was it 11? Did
14,
he go? 14. 14. You're on his case, Hugh. But
Yeah,
he
I'd have taken him
responded,
off
and
by
then
now.
he got back up and running. So he'll be fine. I wouldn't put it past him to score this evening.
Oh, listen, I'm the same. I think he's got something to offer. And what's got to make my night is when Yang comes on and turns this game.
What do you think of Yang these days, Hugh? Because I've not seen you for a week.
No, he did well against Aberdeen.
No way!
Did well against Aberdeen, scored a good goal. We still wouldn't have him in the team.
You've moved from Ida to Yang. Now you're on to Trusty.
Yeah,
Trusty's your man. You're giving it to.
I mean, you've got to demand things of players. That's what Barry Ferguson did today, and look how he was treated.
Very well.
That went well.
So we'll see what he has to say. I think he's in the chair at the moment. Again, he's talking about standards and demanding standards and so on. Austin Trusty has got a real race on his hands, as Hugh alluded to, and he's bailed out by his goalkeeper. I don't think. Do you know what? It's not Trusty's fault, because Olasanya is doing this to every defender in the league. He's so good at it on the shoulder.
We spoke about this,
He's so good on that shoulder when defenders are facing that way, and it's actually well played for St Mirren. Olasanya through on goal. Well saved, Kasper Schmeichel.
I've got to say, his first touch is very, very good indeed. It sets him up, and he must be thinking, I'm going to put my side 1-0 up here. And once again, Schmeichel just comes out there and narrows the angle. Good save.
Last weekend, Edinburgh, Hibs, 2 shoddy goals lost by Celtic. Midweek, in the middle of a training session canter of a second half, they lose another shoddy goal.
But it was only their third home goal conceded all season. Do you expect Celtic to never concede a goal?
I'm just taking you through the week, that's all.
Your standards are very high, Hugh. They are. But you're right, Olasanya. He's such a powerful runner. Hugh did call it. Hugh said that Olasanya and Mandron would give the Celtic pairing at centre back trouble. Of course they are, because they're big physical players, powerful runners, and that's the best opportunity of the game so far. They probably should be ahead. Barna, Kasper Schmeichel save.
Olasanya's better than either.
What?
Oh,
wow.
What?
Okay.
Play the tune.
Play the tune, guys.
Oh,
he's having a night of it.
Oh well.
You don't believe that, do you?
I do.
Check over there and see if that red line started early.
you managed to make 14 games without a goal sound almost a virtue. How can a Celtic centre forward go 14 games without a goal?
But hold on, that's the same Celtic centre forward that scored the winning goal in the Scottish Cup final, scored
last
against
season.
Rangers at Anfield. I know, but
when was the double at Villa Park?
Yeah.
You're all very smart after the event.
I'm giving Barry Ferguson every last second to get some thoughts over to us. I don't know if we'll manage.
Does that tell you something about what's happened in the changing room?
He's
a bit longer.
Yeah, he's taking his time to get in. He is in the press conference now, currently, or it's just coming to a close. Let's Derek McInnes. We hear from him. He's surely
he'll be
not
angry.
in a good mood.
Listen, the conditions were always going to be difficult. Bit of wind, the dry pitch. The pitch was awful for both sets of players. Feel for even the Ross County players as well. We knew it was a game. We spoke about the game, about making sure that today could be a game of mistakes and making sure we're fully concentrated. And you know, one of the only couple of times I think Ross County were in our box first half of not dealt with the situation well enough. It comes from a throw in, they work it across the pitch, and from then on in we never really dealt with the situation. We looked a wee bit anxious with it. As a game we should have took something out of it, but it's been a tough week. It feels so close at Aberdeen last week, 92nd minute, getting something. We're so close to getting something against Rangers with a lot of positives midweek, and we were close again today.
Yeah, but close is not enough. They're down there and they are toiling. Kyle Vassell will be back shortly, back in training, and that will be a help to Derek McInnes. But Dundee, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, it's their relegation party. The rest are leaving them behind now.
He's been there before, Derek, and that's why I think they will get out of it. Squad depth is good. Okay, underperforming, yes. Experienced manager. Yeah, disappointing, but they'll get out of it.
Right, midway through the first half, before we leave you, what's been happening in Paisley, Gordon? How would you sum it up?
I think St Mirren will be happy with their first opening 21 minutes. Had the best chance, forced Schmeichel into a good save. First goal's always got to be important. St Mirren getting in too much behind Celtic's defence.
Yeah, big chance. St Mirren is.
Goal.
And
No, it's not.
It's somehow stayed out for
Oh,
now.
Schmeichel does brilliantly twice.
Tell me, does he pick out the wrong pass here?
Yeah, he should cut that back.
Yeah, I think they just opened Celtic up down that left back position. He's got the freedom of Paisley. He just has to. Oh, he's picked out the wrong pass. He has to pass that, square that to O'Hara,
And then
he's
how
got
does
a
Mark
tap
O'Hara he puts the rebound straight at Schmeichel, who's lying on the ground.
What an opportunity for St Mirren.
Well, we'll see what happens here, because Celtic have the chance to stretch the lead to 16 points after Rangers lost at home to Motherwell. But if the first 22 minutes are anything to go by, it's not going to be easy. Whatever happens tonight, we've then got a huge day tomorrow in Edinburgh Derby, a new firm derby as they used to call it as well. We will reflect on every single bit of it on Monday night, so make sure you join us from 6 and enjoy the GBX, which is up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes Acca gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your Acca. It's a gaffer of an Acca. From Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.